Earth is very flat.
What's up, guys? It is Brandon for Brandon's Show. It's Monday, March 29th, 2021. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Got some stuff planned for you tonight. Should be an exciting show, including some discussion about the semantics of gravity. I've got a thought experiment that we can take a look at that might be interesting. See what the panel thinks. And we'll talk about a couple of videos that came out over the weekend. Boy, did that screw falling get people excited. The nut, the O-ring, whatever the hell we're calling it. Wow. Lots of videos about that. So we can talk about that, and we'll see what else happens. Let's see who we got in chat. What's up, guys? Sound good? Thank you very much. We got Silent Zero. What's up, man? Ian Adams. Bill G. Page 42. Almost Unbelievable. Carlos 888. And Ian Adams. I think I already said Ian Adams. The Plain Truth. Chrissy Heavey. Scrolling. Come on now. Matrix Media. Flat for Life. And Bill G, which I think I said as well. I'm repeating myself a lot tonight. How's everybody doing tonight? Good? Good. Let me put the link in there in case anybody wants to use it for Streamlabs. And there's that. If you want to come in the Discord and join the show, you're more than welcome to. The link is in the description. And if that one doesn't work for you, just let me know for whatever reason, and I'll pop you a new one in the chat. Provided I see it, which I think I catch it most of the time, but I guess I wouldn't know if I missed it, would I? Let's see what else is going on. I think that's about it. Why don't we go into Discord and get started? What's up, guys?
What up?
Who's that? Get out of our...
Were you guys... I'm sorry to interrupt your exciting discussion.
Yeah.
They just let any riffraff into this room.
They do. I know it. Not any. We have some bare minimum standards, Jimbo. Very bare minimum. What's going on, guys?
As in non-exist. Bare as in non-existent.
Yeah. You can see. You can pretty much see through them for sure.
Yeah.
Who we got in here? We got Global Virus Foe. What's going on, man? He must be working or something. Helvetica Bold. Mark, how's it going?
I'm good. And yourself?
Not too bad. Jeremy, Hypothesis Test today is your name.
Yeah. You know what that is? That's how we prove something with using science.
Wait a minute. Science doesn't prove anything.
I just spent weeks with my name as Science Proves Things. I thought you guys, I would have subliminally got it through to you guys.
Shit, didn't work on me, man.
Jeremy's hard work.
I gotta think of something else.
And then we got Jimbo. What's up, Jimbo? I know you were talking before. You there, Jimbo? He must have went to grab a sandwich or his flashlight. Oh shit, man. So what's new? What's exciting out there in the world? Anything?
No.
The Earth presents itself as flat and motionless.
I heard about that. Yeah, somebody was telling me about that. That's pretty exciting. I saw your video, Mark. The
oh, good man.
Yeah, the one on the screw and the O-ring. Thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And did you happen to catch Where's Wally's quotation mark debunk?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's too bad. You really missed a chance to enrich your life.
I debunked to my video.
Well, it was more to the show, but yeah, it addressed the same thing as you did in your video. We can talk about it, but he seemed to miss that part where after the guy appears to drop it, the screw, the O-ring, is no longer in the board. He just kind of, skipped over that part. Yes, that part didn't matter.
I don't think you can escape from that it was there and then it wasn't there, so it went somewhere. And then he somehow introduces it back again with his left hand. How did he retrieve it?
Exactly. I think that's what he was doing in the corner. I'll have to bring the video up so people know what the hell I'm talking about.
he brings his fat ass in the way of the camera, and we don't see what actually happens.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see if I can bring it up. Oh man, should I open Premiere Pro? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. Let me see if I got a link handy. You got a link handy by any chance? I can't remember what I did with it. I know I got it some. Oh, I got the whole video downloaded. Hold on. I'll open that up. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, you have to willfully decide that you're going to ignore the fact that it looks like this guy dropped something. He reacts like he dropped something. You hear the sound of something dropping, and the object is no longer there after these events take place.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, it really does take willful decision to ignore that stuff.
Yeah.
Hello, Brandon.
Willful decision, that's a good one.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's going on, Ruhif?
Good morning. Just wondering whether you want to address that question on air. In the board at 36:10, 36 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, do you have the link? Oh, yeah, I think you just sent it to me. Actually, that's a good place to pick it up. Yeah, why not? Because I think you're doing the same thing that.
Tell me.
You're doing the same thing that Wally's doing.
Right. Tell me when he picks it up.
Yeah.
There's
We're not going to play that game where you didn't see him actually pick it up. We're not going to play that game.
There's no cuts. There's no cuts. He doesn't pick it up. It's in his hand. The end.
Yeah, you wish it was that simple. What's this guy's name again? I gotta find this video. I'm having trouble finding it in my downloads. I know I downloaded the damn thing. Hold on a minute. What about that part where it looks like he dropped something? He reacts like he dropped something. He looks down like he dropped something. We hear the sound of something as if it fell on the ground. And then the item is no longer there. What about that part?
That's a question for me.
Yes, that's a question for you. I'm asking you about that part.
Cool. I'm making kids lunches and shit right now. There's no frame that anyone can show me where you can see a screw fall. Do you agree with that?
That's what you're going to fall back on.
I'll address all of it. Is there a frame where you see it fall?
Is that what, that's the pathetic little game you're going to play?
That's a no. You're chicken shit, Brandon. You can't even address that. Simple question.
Hang on, Ruhif. His ass, his back, and his arm obstructs what actually happens, and the camera doesn't.
You can see.
The camera doesn't catch a frame where there's something falls down. I'll give you that. But most of his body is in the way.
So no one can actually see a screw fall, right?
No, but we do see a screw, and then we don't see a screw. So it's gone somewhere.
Correct. I think it's in his hand.
Yeah, I bet you think it's in his hand.
He puts it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet
and he takes a step forward.
You'd like to think it's in his hand.
Yeah, Ruhif, you need to know.
I think it is in his hand.
Ruhif, you need to believe that it's in his hand, but his reaction is he dropped.
You need to believe it's fallen. You can't see it fall. It's in the board at 36:10, but he doesn't pick anything up.
Who cares about 36:10? Where is it here? Look at my. Can you look at my screen while you're making your sandwich? While you're putting the Vegemite on.
The screw is in the board at 36:10.
Look at my screen. Look at my screen. Now we played your game. Mark answered your question. Now you can answer my questions.
There we go.
Here we go. This is prior to him touching it, just prior, right? Okay, here he goes. He's touching it. We can clearly see the O-ring there. You see the O-ring? Are you going to... Yes, you see the O-ring.
Yes, it's there.
Here's another shot where the O-ring is clearly there. It's just as he's touching it. Oops! That's the part where he drops it. This is a frame later. Is the O-ring there? Yes or no? Is the O-ring there?
I think it's in his hand.
Is the O-ring there? Yes or no?
Is it in?
Do you see it in his hand? Hold on. Do you see it in his hand, Ruhif?
It's not good enough resolution.
Tell me the frame where you see it in his hand, Ruhif.
Yeah, I can't. I'm saying that's where it has to be because he doesn't pick anything up.
So you're just coming up with some bullshit ad hoc excuse. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, there's
show me where it picks
video
up,
evidence.
Tell me where the frame is where it's in his hand.
Yeah,
10 components of the video.
You can't see it drop.
Okay, so that's what you're going to fall back on. That's what I said, you chicken shit.
Yeah. Bullshit, Brandon. Go fuck
yourself.
There
are 10 components of video evidence that say he dropped it, and just
Yeah,
you've got
and show me where he
one
picks it up.
shred. Hang on, you got one shred where you say, "Oh, I can't see it in his hand," and so you're just going to
Show me where he
dismiss
picks
the
it
other
up.
10 because you can't see it in his hand.
I know, isn't that lame?
Show me where he picks it up.
God, that's lame.
Show me where he picks it up.
You're a video denier, Ruhif. You're a video denier.
So here it is. Here
Show
it is
me where he
again.
picks it up.
It's not in the board, correct? This is another frame, just so I have multiple frames where we don't see it in the board.
Yep.
And what is he doing in both
Yep.
of these frames here, Ruhif? What is he doing? This
He's
he
looking
reacts
down.
as if he falls. He dropped
Checking
something.
his shoelace.
Then he immediately looks
Oh.
down as if he dropped something. He's still looking down, looking around, and then voila, it's not there
Or,
anymore.
as multiple people have told you, he's looking for where he can place
Oh
his feet.
yeah.
to get
How
closer.
did you come to that determination, Ruhif, that he's looking for where to place his feet?
That's a reasonable
what the
thing to
excuse
Oh, that's
What came
reasonable. You know what else is reasonable? When someone looks like they dropped something, you hear something fall, and the item isn't where it was before, and you don't see it in their hand. It's
And
reasonable
yet
to
we
assume
have
that it fell.
uncut footage. We have uncut footage, and he does not pick up anything.
You don't see what he's doing with his hands the whole time, do you? He's obviously
Ruhif,
reaches
he
down
doesn't
for
reach to the
something, doesn't he,
floor.
Ruhif? Does he
No,
reach
he
down for
doesn't.
something? Yes or no? Does he
No,
reach
doesn't.
down?
This is what he doesn't reach down for something. No.
Really? Oh well,
He does
if
not
I had
pick
the
up anything off
frickin'
the
link,
floor.
I would play this.
He
thing.
does not pick up anything off the floor
How do you know he doesn't pick off
He
anything?
does-
Can you see his hands the entire
because
time?
there's a fucking camera on
Can
him.
you see his hands the entire time?
No, but you can tell
Oh,
whether
so
he
you
picks something
can't
off
see
off
his
the
hands the
floor.
entire time. You don't know what he's
Oh,
doing
Jesus,
down there.
Brandon.
Can you see
I
his
cannot.
hands when he
I
has his
seriously
back
can't believe
turned?
you.
Can you tell what he's doing when he has his back turned and he's
No.
blocking the camera?
Can you tell
So
from
you
someone
don't
from the
see
back
his
whether they're
hands, so
bending
you
up to
don't
pick
have
something up
any
off the
visual
ground?
evidence. Can you give me a frame where you see it in his hand? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, Ruhif.
See how easy that is to answer, Brandon. Show me a frame where he picks something up.
He's got his big fat ass in the way. We don't stick it.
Yeah. Can you
But-
not tell from someone's ass when they're bending over to pick something up or not?
Oh, you might
How
be able
difficult
to.
is this?
What a
Yeah, well, you guys
stupid
can't.
thing to say. What an absolute
It's in
stupid
the
thing to
board.
say for you. This is just like
It's in the
barefaced
board at
denial.
3610.
How do you
It's in the
look
board.
yourself in the mirror
Is
and
it in the
go,
board at
I am
3610,
not in
Brandon?
denial. I am not just latching on to any ad hoc excuse, so I don't have to face the fact that something fell in space.
Is it in the board at 3610?
You
Yes or
answer
no?
my question. How do you look yourself in the mirror? How do you feel about
Oh,
yourself
it's a
when you look at
bullshit
yourself in the
question,
mirror and
Brandon.
go,
You know it's a bullshit question.
I am fucking so deluded, I can't even admit that he dropped something.
You know, he didn't drop anything, Brandon. You cannot show me anywhere
Just keep
where
saying it
something
over and
drops.
over. He didn't
You
drop anything. He
cannot.
didn't drop anything. He didn't drop
Yeah,
anything.
he
What
didn't.
frame and what
Becoming
frame do you
real.
see it fall?
Okay,
What frame
Show
do
me
you
a
see it
frame where
fall?
he dropped something. Show me a frame where he dropped something. See, you asked me whether I can see the screw in his hand. I say no because I can't. You can't show me a frame where you can see.
We've
it
already
drop.
gone over that. You
Admit that,
can't
come on.
show me a frame
Yeah,
where it's in
right,
his
you
hand.
can't. Okay, so do I act like a fuckwit and go, oh, how do you
Well,
look in the mirror
when
and
I
fucking
watch a
look at it?
video and it looks like someone dropped something, they react like they dropped something, and the object that they would have dropped is no longer where it was when they were touching it, I just naturally assume that they dropped something. That's a reasonable
Yeah,
assumption.
that's
That's
an
like
assumption. Well
2
done.
plus 2 equals 4.
Also a reasonable assumption to say he was looking to where he could put his feet.
No, it's not, because
Oh,
you have
come
no
on.
evidence for that whatsoever. Zero. None
He takes a
whatsoever.
step forward. He takes a step forward after he looks down. I think it's a reasonable
So
assumption.
what?
So, how do you look in the mirror, Brandon? How do you look in the mirror and go, oh, I'm not a fucking...
Well, I'm not
piece
sitting
of
here
shit."
in total fucking denial about what I'm watching. Latching on to any
Is
ad
the
hoc
screw in the
excuse I
board?
can get my hands on.
Is the screw in
I'm
the board at
calling out what I
3610?
see.
Have you answered
Man
that?
looks like he dropped something.
Is-
I say, you know what? He probably fucking dropped something. All evidence point to the fact that he dropped
Or-
something.
Or it's in his hand because he didn't pick anything up.
Or if you're a fuckwit idiot and want to believe that he didn't drop something, I can make up ad hoc excuses and make videos about it
Yeah.
and make myself look like a
Okay,
fucking
so
deluded
show me-
asshole. I could
Show
do
me
that
where he
too.
picked something up. Show me where he picked something up.
You
These big fat asses in the
listen
way.
to
Come
this.
on.
This is the last ledge.
Oh,
His
come on, Mark.
fingers are just holding onto that ledge. Show me the frame where he
Jesus,
dropped
Brandon.
something.
Yeah, because you can't, and that's why you go
Yeah,
into this,
okay.
bullshit
You got your last
rhetorical
refuge,
adversity.
Ruhif. You got your last refuge. Anybody
Yeah,
who's honest with
I know,
themselves
Brandon.
can see what happens in the video, though. So that's
Yeah.
fine. You
Anybody
cling
who's
onto
honest
that
can answer
ledge
questions,
there.
Brandon.
Cling onto that ledge. It makes you feel safe and comfortable not to have to admit that this man dropped something in what was supposed to be a 0G environment. That's fine.
Anybody who's honest is not afraid
I
to
can't
answer
blame
simple
you.
questions,
It's
Sam.
hard to let go of your beliefs, especially when the evidence that
Yeah,
you're faced
I'll
with, that
keep
cog
repeating
dis
it.
is very strong, and it can really fuck you up.
Anyone who is honest is not afraid to answer questions.
I've answered your questions already.
is
Now
this-
you're repeating
Okay, is it
yourself
in the
also
board?
and acting like I didn't answer the questions because you like to play little psychological tricks to make people think that I'm not answering questions and I'm being unreasonable when clearly you are the one being unreasonable.
All right, so I must have missed your answer. Is the screw in the board at 3610?
Show me the
must have missed it,
3610
honestly.
frame. Let me bring it up.
I'm
And
on
then
my
we
phone,
can
so
let
someone
the
else can.
audience see that this has zero connection to the subject at hand. This is totally ancillary to it after the fact. So you tell me,
He doesn't. He drops
You
something,
tell
doesn't
me
pick it up,
why
and then
this
it's magically in the
matters.
board again.
you tell me why this matters.
Because it's in. Okay, fine. It's in the board. He doesn't pick it up off the ground. Therefore, it didn't fall on the ground.
How did it get into his left hand, Ruhif?
When he fucking opened the panel.
He used his right hand to remove it. It disappears.
No,
and it's
no,
it's
he
his
used his
left
left hand.
No.
His left hand.
Hey, Ruhif,
Show
this
me.
is way past the point
He
where he's
opens it
in
with
the
his left
corner.
hand.
We're going to have to watch the video again because you're just like, you're
Yeah.
playing this little game.
Oh shit! Be quick. I gotta go in a sec. Actually, I'll join again after 9 o'clock.
Okay,
Run
good.
away.
That'll give me time to cool down
Oh,
so
sure,
I
sure.
can
Fuck off, Mark.
bash you over the head again. All right. Anyway, guys. Yeah, I'll start off with a little fire this week. Okay.
Yeah, that was fun. Catch you later.
All right. We'll see you in a little while.
Brandon, what do you have in store for us tonight?
Well, I have a thought experiment related to gravity that I thought we could go over that might be interesting.
Oh God! Oh no! Gravity doesn't tell us anything about the shape of.
I know, but it's well. Hold on a minute. I'm not so sure that's true because they need gravity.
They do, but we don't. So
We don't.
fuck gravity.
Well, it's a hot topic right now, so
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm biased.
you're not a big
But
fan
I'll-
of the topic.
No, I think
Heavily
it's,
biased, Mark.
What's that?
all,
Brandon shops at Hot Topic?
I haven't been to Hot Topic in weeks, Bob.
You're not showing a gravity meter there, are you,
The
Brandon?
Earth is
That's what
very
someone who
flat.
shops at Hot Topic would say.
Yes, this is a well, you usually refer to it as a scale, but I suppose if you wanted to twist things around in your head, you could call it a measure of gravity. So we all know what this is, a scale. This is a 5-ounce weight in case you can't see the 5 on there. So if I put this on the scale, how much is it going to weigh? 5 ounces, right?
yeah.
The scale's going to record 5 ounces. Okay. Now this is a pretty simple thought experiment. I just want to go through it because I thought it was interesting. Kind of made me think a little bit. If I attach this balloon, this helium balloon to it, to this 5-pound weight, and this balloon can lift, it has a 1 ounce lifting power, how much is this scale going to register?
Less than 5 ounces.
Okay. That's fair enough. We'll just call it 4. We'll say it's an even 1 ounce lift.
Okay.
All right. So I've got these two on here, right? This one has a weight on it. This one has a weight and a string and a balloon. Obviously, this one is going to weigh more, right? This 5-ounce one.
Yeah. No outside influence.
No outside influence. This is just sitting out in the open. You're just weighing this stuff.
Okay.
All right. So if I put them on the scale, like this, which side is going to go down?
The right hand side.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Now, if I encase them in glass container, where there's no exchange, it's totally sealed glass container. Think of it as a vacuum chamber without, being a vacuum. It's got air in it. And I put these 2 containers, one with the 5-ounce weight and one with the 5-ounce weight with the balloon attached to it, inside the containers and put them on the scale. Which one is going to weigh more? Is the question so stupid that you can't believe I asked it, or is are you guys
No,
thinking about it?
what have you
The one on the
wrong
right.
physics? What are you talking about?
Huh?
No, it's the conservation of weight in the container and the gravity.
The angle of momentum.
Anybody want to put themselves out there and say what's going to happen?
The one
Brandon,
on the right.
Brandon, I think you're going to explain what you observe here.
What I observe here, okay, here's the way I was thinking about it, is you've got this 5-ounce weight in the glass case. Obviously, nothing much to say about that. Over here, you've got this weight pushing down on this case, but you've got this balloon introducing this upward force still inside the container on the weight, which is going to make the downward pressure from the weight less. I believe that this side will still go down.
You've removed
The one on the right.
Yeah.
You've removed the buoyancy effect though on the left hand side by putting it into. Is it a vacuum or zero gravity? What did you do with it?
It's just filled with oxygen.
So you haven't removed any outside the balloon itself.
The balloon's still pulling the weight up inside the glass container.
Yeah. The balloon's still pulling it up inside the glass container. I agree. Okay. Now,
Why would it not be?
yeah, I don't know. Well, this is what I was talking with a couple people over the
Exactly.
weekend.
Why would
I'm just
it not be?
confused about the silence. I'm thinking, what am I really stupid? This is still pretty basic.
Yeah, this is putting upward pressure on here. But see, the thing that I think can be confusing is you've got this enclosed container, so everything's happening with this container. I've got this box. This has more matter in it. This box. It literally has more matter, right? Well, I guess the helium is the exchange here, right?
Yeah, but within the box, the helium is still
matter.
pulling the weight off the scale.
They say the helium is matter. I can't even look at what your diagram you have, but
Right. Well, somebody was telling me that this balloon, because it's buoyant, there's still a downward pressure involved, so it would even out. Does that make sense to anybody?
No, that sounds like whoever was talking to you was mentally retarded, perhaps.
Yeah.
you must have been talking to them dudes over in Gems, Brandon. Come on.
Did they get off a special bus or?
I didn't see what kind of bus they got. I did hear the squeal of some wheels and somebody yelling at some kids and some helmets smashing against windows, but I don't know.
I went in Gems right after you did. Was it Saturday or Sunday? And they were talking about you.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Who was curved?
I don't know, one of them dudes.
All right. Now, what about this one? They're each enclosed in the airtight case, same as book 4, except the balloon is inflated after the boxes are sealed. So there's some magic way that I can introduce the helium into this balloon after I enclose these boxes. They have the same amount of oxygen. They've got the weight. And we'll say I threw the string in here too, or whatever. And then I pump this up with helium. What's going to happen?
Same thing.
Are you looking at all the variables?
I don't know. I
don't understand.
I
Why
posted,
would it matter
Helium will
how
lift the
many
weight.
helium got in
I
there?
posted something special about weight and mass, downward force.
Well, that's what we're told, right?
helium
There's a
is-
downward force, so that there should be. What we're told is the downward force is what causes buoyancy. Even though the only force that we can measure, as far as I can tell, is the upward force on a buoyant object. That's the only place any force is coming from. If I try to measure force anywhere else, I don't know where else I'm going to measure force at.
But you can personally experience a downward force when you jump off at the.
Have you looked into diamagnetism, Brandon?
No, I haven't really looked into it. I couldn't say.
Helium is diamagnetic. It can be
When
repelled.
you add neutral to buoyancy, you're not talking about, any displacement at all. No movement up, down, sideways.
So does
Yeah,
anybody
but if
know
you-
though? I mean, what would happen in this case? Would this side still go down further because this balloon is gonna
I
put
posted
upwards
a
pressure?
little bit of an issue with things falling, sand in a egg timer on a scale, and it shows you some very unusual behavior of, well, the forces applied to the scale.
Ew.
Very
Brandon, Brandon, your point has been diverse. Tell us again.
It shows the release of the stored energy. That's all it does.
All right, yeah, I'll open that in a minute, Jimbo. What was your question, Mark?
It's got diverse. The subject has. Bring us back to your point of where you want to go with this.
Well, what I am seriously trying to get the answer to the question on what would happen here. So
we still have
because I'm trying
oxygen.
I'm trying to think through if there's this offsetting downward force that would happen within this enclosed box that would offset the force that is this balloon is having on this weight to keep the weight the same.
You know what would be kind of cool to do is put it in between two magnets to see if it's paramagnetic. See what magnetism will do to it.
Opposite reactions.
Brandon, would you agree with me that two bodies can't share the same space at the same time?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's what buoyancy is all about. You're forcing one body into an environment that it can't belong in because it's trying to share the same space. So one has to give to the other, and it doesn't give left or right, forward or backwards. It gives way up or down. So there's another element of this up and down.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Angel, do you know you're off mute? It was pretty good though. You got not a bad voice, Angel of Attack, or well, compared to me at least.
Hey Brandon, would you like me to help you out with that a little bit?
Some love is just a lie of the heart.
Sure, I'd love you to attempt to help me out.
Well, no,
On the phone.
I'll explain it to you. So
Oh,
you
good.
don't
Oh,
have any
good.
problem
Please
with it.
explain it to me, Bob.
Great. All right, so we're going to have to make a couple of conditions on the experiment. First of all, the container, the box itself, has to be equal in weight on both sides. So they have to weigh exactly the same.
Okay.
Second, you need to have a rubber balloon in both sides. Now, on the one side that's filled with a metallic mass, you're going to just have to throw an empty rubber balloon in there, and the rest of it's filled with air, correct?
Yes, good man. I agree with that.
Now, if you go to the other side and you have the same mass, the same weight in there, in the same size box, with the same volume box, and you have a rubber balloon that is filled with helium, and you haven't changed the pressure in the box, you have proportionately less oxygen in that box because the helium takes up part of it. Do you agree?
In the left
Nobody
box.
else.
Well, I don't know which side. I'm in the car.
What?
And
No,
listening.
in
Why
the,
wouldn't
well,
it
in this
be-
particular
Yeah, just be under more pressure.
in this particular
What direct-
setup, the oxygen amounts in each box were the same, regardless of the balloon being
The
in there.
same.
Well,
What
then you're going
direction-
to have to raise the pressure.
What direction are you going to have
Right.
these pointed? North and east or east to west?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if there's electromagnetism field acting upon it.
Well, that is irrelevant to the question.
Not really.
At hand.
Let's
So-
assume there's no electric.
So basically, what you've done is you've taken two boxes with a rubber balloon in it, filled with helium, and have a weight of equal mass in both sides, and you're adding helium to the second one. Correct? So you will have more mass in the side that you added helium to, because you increased the pressure of the oxygen. You compressed it by adding helium.
Yeah.
So in reality, there is more mass on that side.
Right.
Since the reason objects go to the ground is an external force being equally applied on all objects related to their mass. The one with the helium in it will actually weigh more than the other.
Do you have any experimental evidence to support this?
Yeah, you can do it.
I mean, have you seen this experiment done or a similar setup to like this?
No, I understand it well enough to be able to tell you exactly what will happen with it. Because
so
you
this
have
is just
more mass on one side than the other.
So your knowledge of this
And the
is
amount of
at this
force-
point, Bob. Hold on, Bob. Damn.
Brandon,
Damn. Hold on, Bob. Let me ask my
Brandon,
question.
gymnastics.
I just want to
Force
clarify. So
equals
your
mass
knowledge of
times
this and
acceleration.
what you're advising me right now is theoretical based on your understanding of physics and not
force
experimentally
equals
based.
mass
Is that right?
times acceleration. Force equals mass
Holy
times
shit,
acceleration.
Bob. I'm just
You
trying to
have
clarify
equal
whether you have any
acceleration on both
experimental
sides.
evidence that you're basing
You
this
have
opinion on. If you've
equal
seen a setup like this or
acceleration
not,
on
I
both
don't care if it's
sides,
theoretical or
and
not.
you
I'm
have
just trying to
more
understand
mass on one
where
side
you're
than
coming
the other.
from. If it is just
Therefore, you
based
have more
on
force
your
on that
theoretical
side,
knowledge of
and
physics,
it will go down that
your
way.
understanding of physics,
Bob,
that's fine.
Bob. Let him get it.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, come on, Bob.
Bob, all I'm asking you is, have you seen an experimental setup like this? Have you conducted it? Is what you're telling us right now based on experimental result, or is it just based on your understanding of physics?
So it's on experimental results. If you put more mass on one side of a lever like that, or a balance, if there's more mass on one side than the other, which is the system that you set up, that side will go down. Look at two kids on a teeter-totter, a skinny kid and a fat kid. Which side's going to be lower?
Okay, so this one has more mass on this side, doesn't it? The one with out the glass case, what's the difference? Bob?
Are you asking me to repeat exactly what I just told you?
Let me slightly
Is that what I said to
in
you?
that
Did I
box-
say, hey, Bob, can you repeat exactly what you just told me? No, I asked you a
Yes.
clarifying question for, there's a different diagram up now. Maybe this because you can't see. This diagram doesn't
No, I
have
can't.
glass cases. It just has the weight with the balloon on one side, and we'll say the empty balloon and the string is in the other side, but not filled up with helium. The one on
Okay, then the side without the balloon.
Let me ask Bob. Can I ask
will
Bob a
be
question,
higher.
Brandon? I need this might
All
this
right.
might explain it.
Hold on.
Just
Wait,
if in that
wait.
glass
Let him
case-
answer. He was just giving an
All right,
answer.
all right.
Bob, what
Let
did
me-
you
let
say?
me
You said
finish
the
my
side
question.
without the
Okay,
what?
the side with the balloon on it will be higher than the side without the balloon because the pressure is equal in both, and the helium is displacing some of the atmospheric air. So there you go.
Okay. Well,
Let
thank
me
you
ask
for
a
your
question,
theoretical
please.
opinion.
Glad I could
Could you
help.
point me to the
ask
experimental
a
evidence that you based it on? That's what I'd really like to see.
Yeah, a fat kid and a skinny kid on a
No, that's
seesaw.
not the same
experimental
setup,
evidence.
is it, Bob? It's not even a similar setup, is it?
Yeah, it
Let me
is
ask Bob a
because
No,
you've got
question,
it's really
difference
not,
in
Bob.
mass.
It's not at all.
You have difference in mass on each side of the balance, so therefore that's what
Yeah, that's
happens.
all there is to it,
Go
right?
ahead, Ruoff.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah, that's all
really
there is to it.
understanding the
Go ahead,
subtleties of this,
Ruoff.
isn't it?
Go ahead,
Guys,
Ruoff.
let Brandon
Ask a
finish.
question.
Let Brandon
Let me
finish
ask you a
real
question.
quick, though.
He is. Ruoff, you had a question?
I'm sorry, Bob. Are you running the show now?
I got a question though.
I guess
No.
so.
Oh man,
No.
I got a question.
Evangelist is next when
Go ahead.
Brandon's done.
Effie, go ahead.
Bob. So in the glass case where you've got the helium balloon and the 5-ounce weight on the scale, okay? So if we increase the lift of the helium balloon to 5 ounces, such that the balloon and the weight were then hovering in the air, not touching the scale, would it still be, because you've got the same amount of mass in your glass case, are you saying that the scales would still be balanced if the balloon and the weight weren't actually touching the scale?
Well, you see, here's the problem that you run into. First, if you held the pressures equal, you would be displacing air with the helium, and that would decrease the amount of mass on that side. But Brandon very specifically said there's an equal amount or an equal mass of air in both sides, and you're adding helium to another side, which is additional mass.
So you're telling me
whether or not it's touching the top, it's touching the weight, whatever it's touching, you're weighing the boxes. You're not weighing what's in the boxes. You're getting the
so
total
the balloon
weight
and the weight hovering in the air, not just floating in free space within the box. You're saying the scale would
so
still
in
be
other
balanced.
words, you want to have enough helium.
I'd like to see that.
You want to have enough helium. you want to have enough helium to.
I'd like to see that, Bob.
Up the 5 ounces.
Shit, that can't be a very expensive experiment to set up. I'd really like to see that.
Okay. Does
Gentlemen.
having it hover change the amount of mass that's in the box?
Gentlemen, we're missing something here. We're starting with a helium balloon without the case. What about starting the experiment with the glass cases and then introduce the helium balloon? And would you get the same results? I
With
think
the same volume, with the same volume of air, or with the same volume or number of moles of air in each box.
if you started with
additional mass, you're adding additional mass to the box of the balloon.
And that I agree on that, and that's where the flaw of the experiment starts. If you started with the 2 glass cases that was totally equal, and you introduce something to one side, then you're adding mass to one side. So I think it's a mistake to think, let's start with a balloon first and then put the, because you would get a different result if you started with the glass cases and then introduced the balloon.
Well, here, let me see if I
Wait
can
a minute,
help you
hold
guys
on.
out a
Let me
little bit.
respond to what Mark said real
Go
quick.
ahead.
So I do like the setup that I think it was you, Effie, came up with, where the balloon and the weight are offsetting each other, and the two together are neutrally buoyant in the box, and they're hanging in the middle of the box. There's the same amount of air in each box. And Bob, your contention is that those two would equal out, or this side would be heavier because there's more mass because there's the helium introduced into this side. Yeah. Do you have
So
that's a
that side
little?
would go
Do
down.
you see how that's a little
I'd
hard
like
to
to see
believe,
that.
Bob? Do you understand how that might?
Question real quick.
Hold on.
Yeah, let Don's been waiting.
All right. Well, just let me
I'm gonna
follow up,
give
and
you
then
a
I'll give it to
example
Don.
of how that will work.
All right, cool.
Okay, if you'll stop talking, I'll give you a classic example.
Well, I wasn't
to
done
demonstrate
talking.
it.
Actually, I got interrupted by like 2
Okay,
or 3
well,
people, so
you
maybe
go
I
ahead.
can finish first,
You
and
go
then you
ahead
can
and
go.
finish then.
All right.
Go ahead and finish.
Do you
finished
see how
interrupting.
that could be a little hard to wrap your head around?
That's why I'm trying to help you wrap your head around it. But
Well, what would
I haven't
help
been
is
able
some
to say it.
experimental evidence that prove
Easily.
it. That's what would do it.
Easily.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, take 2 buckets of water that have exactly the same amount of mass, and put equal sized turtles in both of them. Does it matter if one turtle's sitting on the bottom of the bucket or one turtle's floating in the middle of the bucket? They both weigh the
Yeah,
same.
but that's a liquid. That's in liquid. That's not in air.
Air is also considered a fluid, so it's the same principle.
Is it considered?
So it doesn't
a
matter.
liquid?
Fluid and gas are not the same thing, Bob.
They're considered. It's a
Brandon asked for an
fluid.
experiment.
That is an experiment right there. You can put a turtle in a bucket of water and tell me whether or not.
Now, why don't we just put a balloon and a weight floating in gas? Why don't we do that? Don't worry about turtles and water.
All right.
Let's just
Now
do
we're gonna
balloons
use-
and weights floating.
No, we're going to use the turtle in the water because it's easier to visualize, and I'm trying to help you guys out.
Well, we're sticking with the
Sure,
gas.
exactly.
Can we stick with the gas here, though, Bob?
And I already
Yeah,
answered
right.
the gas. I already answered the
Bob.
question with the gas
But now you're giving us
Bob,
a turtle in a bucket with water.
because you didn't understand the answer with the gas. I'm hoping
No,
that you're
you
going to
told me
understand
about
the
2
turtle
kids
in the
on a
bucket earlier.
seesaw.
You've changed the parameters, Bob. You've changed the parameters because it suits you to do that.
Yeah.
Bob, is this your experiment, right? Would this be your experiment? Are you going to control the variables and all that stuff between the North and the South Pole, being electromagnetism? Helium is diamagnetic.
Irrelevant.
Helium
So
is
what?
diamagnetic.
So what?
So is water. It's diamagnetic.
So what?
So it repels. It'll force
So
action
what?
on it. Are you going to control that variable?
Okay, no,
You're
you're going to
measure
first
the
show
charge.
me that it actually has a significant difference between the two. All right. If you can demonstrate that force and show that it's significant in the setting of this experiment, we'll look at it. If not, I'm not going to.
Well, that's
I'm
what
going to ignore it.
That's why I say if you put it between 2 magnets and see if it increases, it pushes the the experiment.
No,
much
you can put
more.
it between two magnets to determine whether or not it actually has a force that is significant and has a bearing on the outcome of the experiment that I outlined.
Mhm.
That's not my problem to sit down and try and rule out your diamagnetic heavenly energies variable. Okay.
Well, let's
you show
go back
me
to the claim.
you show me that that's
force
going to
action
make
on
a
gas.
significant. Then you can show me that having an effect, and then we'll look at it. I mean, then it becomes a serious consideration.
you-
If not, it's not a serious consideration.
Can you show me your presumed cause affecting gas in any way?
Yeah, I already demonstrated it to you. It's strictly the amount of mass on either side of the balance.
You didn't demonstrate it. You gave us words.
Okay, well,
maybe explain what demonstration means, Jedi.
I don't really care what your
trying to,
definition is.
Hold on.
We can
not Jedi.
demonstrate mass.
We're trying to, my friend, we can demonstrate mass.
Yes.
At the moment, I'm trying to figure out what your observed phenomena is. Right?
It's
something
whatever
going
you
on
want,
in the
whatever
physical
you say
natural
it
world
is,
that you want
because
to
it's whatever you say it is.
Well, I want to know. Okay, so you're saying what? Mass is attracting gas?
I'm not saying anything. I'm stating a fact that if you put more mass on one side of a lever. Okay, you're going to let me finish or not? I'm saying that if you put more mass on one side of a balance than the other, it will tilt down to the side with more mass on it. And in the situation that Brandon outlined, he had more mass on one side of the balance than the other. And that's really all there is to it. I mean, it's Newton's.
So two solid objects on a scale.
It's Newton's second law of motion.
Yeah,
so.
two solid objects. I got you, Bob. I got you. So two solid objects on a scale. I'm talking specifically about gas, which isn't. Well, it does because I'm talking about
in a
gas.
box, in a solid box.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
okay, there you go.
You've contained.
But I could help you out.
Yeah, that you've contained. Well, just very quick question. You know that gas that you've got contained in that box, what happens when I remove the container? Where does the gas go?
Depends on the pressure, and it depends on the density of the gas.
All right, let me make it really simple for you. I've got a vacuum, and inside the vacuum, I've got a box that contains gas. When I open the container that has gas pressure in it into an environment that hasn't got any gas in it, where's the gas go?
And there's no work being done on the system?
I just want you to show me or demonstrate where the gas goes. So
that's a key question.
Put it like this. I'll show you. Bob,
I'm sorry, that's a key question that I have. Is there work being done on the system? Yes or no?
At the moment, I'm just going to give you the demonstration, and I want you to
you have
show
to give me
where
a yes
the work
or no.
is.
You have to give me a yes or a no first. Is there work being done on the system? Then I can predict it.
Well, let me give you the demonstration, right? And you show me where the work's been done. So I've got a vacuum chamber that's big, and in the middle of it, I've got a container of
whether or
gas.
not work's being done.
I'm talking to you, so shush. So I've got a vacuum container. Let's call it 100 foot tall. In the middle, 50 foot above the floor, in the middle, suspended, is a container of gas. When I press a button, the container opens and releases the gas. Which way does the gas go inside the vacuum?
If there is no work being done on the system, it will expand to fill all the available space.
Awesome. So when we do this on Earth, it expands in the available space. Now, the work is said to be done here on Earth by the mass that's putting the gas back down to it, but the gas is expanding into all of the space. So you can't even point out to me where the work's been done.
Sure I can.
Because you've just explained.
Certainly.
It expands into the available space, and we do this on Earth, and the gas expands into the available space. So where's your work?
Okay,
where's your mass attracting the gas?
Okay, you ready? Work is the displacement of mass in the direction of an applied force. Do you agree with that?
Yes, we had this conversation the other day.
Great. So, is the amount of mass in a cubic meter of the atmosphere at 20 miles the same as the amount of mass in a cubic meter of air at sea level?
Okay, so we're pointing out a gas pressure gradient.
No, I'm talking strictly about.
Yeah.
I'm talking strictly about the amount of mass in 1 cubic meter at 20 miles versus sea level. First, answer the question. Are they the same amount of mass?
No, but
great. How did the mass from one get to the other?
Sorry, hold on, Bob, very quickly, because you're using the word mass a lot. Could you define it for me, so we're understanding what you're defining mass to be, please?
If you don't know what mass is, I suggest you Google it so you can keep up with the conversation.
I'll tell you what, I'll do it. I'll tell you what, Bob, I'll do it. The amount of stuff in a space, or the resistance to inertia.
I'm going to go ahead and finish what I said.
Bob, you've been asked how many questions and he's answered them. Why don't you answer one or just sit back for a second, Bob? Are we doing this again, that Cocky King thing? Come on.
All right, so is the amount of mass at 20 miles in 1 cubic meter the same as the amount of mass at sea level? The answer is no. How did the mass get from 20 miles down to sea level? It was displaced. Since it was displaced, work was performed upon it. Therefore, there is a force acting upon it. You can't get out of it. It's the second law of thermodynamics, and you have no resort that you can try and fudge that. So you've just proven that there is a force acting upon the mass of the gas in the atmosphere.
No. What you
now you're just denying it.
To me is a gas pressure, right? Bob, no. Let me answer. I'm not denying it. I'm just pointing out what you just elucidated to me. You just demonstrated a gas pressure gradient, and I can demonstrate a gas pressure gradient by putting energy work into a system, like heat and so on. Within your model, the Earth being a spinning ball in space, the explanation that we are given for the gas pressure gradient isn't gravity. Right? It's geochemical biological cycles, right? The production of gas and work.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Where's gas produced?
So,
where's gas produced?
Well, on the Earth, it depends.
How?
Are we mining the gas?
How?
Are we mining the gas that's in the Earth?
Okay, so
what do you mean, how?
Yeah, how? Tell me exactly what produces gas on the surface of the Earth.
Plants.
Not talk about this plant.
Okay, you want to talk about plants?
Yeah.
Great.
Nitrogen.
You've taken a stance. You've made a position.
And water.
Plants produce oxygen. How do plants produce oxygen?
Have you ever, before you get into something crazy, Bob, have you ever heard of the Hill effect? You want me to school you again like I did this weekend over at Jen's? Or do you know
how
what
do
the
plants produce oxygen?
Do you know what the Hill, Bob, do you know what the Hill effect is?
I'm only addressing the issue on the plants producing oxygen.
This is the issue. Do you know what the Hill, Bob, do you know what the Hill effect is?
Huh? Not addressing. I'm not addressing
Dan,
you.
are you hot
I'm
micing
addressing you.
Oh, Vance, or your hot mic, mate.
Now you can either tell me where that oxygen comes from, or we're going into conversation. How is that oxygen produced?
You know, methane. You know, it bubbles up through the surface of the Earth.
I'm not talking about methane. We're addressing your claim.
Hey, Bob, why didn't you let him answer?
Bob.
That was Jeremy's claim about the damn plants. So let's go back to what you were talking to Jedi.
Okay,
Jeremy's. No, you're not talking to Jeremy right now. Don't avoid John.
Yeah,
Bob,
actually,
don't
I
avoid. You just said don't. It was his claim. It ain't his claim. That was Jeremy's. Who were you talking to before this?
Yeah, my bad. Go ahead, Jedi. My bad.
So why don't you stick to what he was talking about? Because you know why? Because if you go down this path, you're screwed, and that's why you want to avoid.
Address Jedi. You don't know what the Hill reaction is, so just address Jedi.
All right. All questions will only go through Brandon.
No,
I will only
I'm not playing
respond to
that
Brandon.
game, Bob.
You decide
I'm not
which
playing that
ones you
game,
want.
Bob. I'm not doing that.
Just go back to dealing with Jedi. I'll back
Just
out.
deal
Go
with
ahead.
Jedi. Jeremy is gonna. Everybody else is gonna be quiet. Jedi's gonna ask his question.
All right. Anybody else says anything? We're done. Go ahead.
Well, you ain't running shit
Where's
here, Bob. But
methane
go ahead,
come
Jedi.
from? Bob, where's methane come from? Show me on Earth where you can see methane being released from the Earth. Where does that happen?
Methane comes from
Does that
the
happen
decomposition.
underneath lakes?
Methane comes from the decomposition of plants. What creates the plants?
Yeah. So lots of structures and strata underneath the layers of the Earth.
No,
all
it comes
this
from
bacteria and all of this. But look, hold on.
It comes
just
from
cows
decayed
farting.
plants.
We're talking about and lots of biological breakdown, right? Now that's in
Of
the
biological material.
Bob, listen, Bob. It's not in the sky. What we're pointing out is either on the surface or in the earth, in the mass of the earth. Right, the mass that's supposed to be attracting the gas to it, but the gas and the methane bubble up, go upwards, bubble up through the seas and lakes. Right, this is why we have sulfur and all of these chemicals that are coming out from the bottom of lakes. So leaving the mass that is supposed to be attracting it to it. So it's inside the mass that's already attracting it to it, but leaving the mass that's said to be attracting it to it. Do you understand, Bob, that you do not have an observed phenomena when you're talking about mass attracting gas, because the gas is leaving the mass in bubbles, Bob? You know what bubbles are, right? Go up through the sea and into and pop into the atmosphere. Then we breathe it, leaving the mass it's supposed to be attracted to, Bob.
You done?
Oh yeah.
Great. Where's the biomass, the stuff that generates the methane, come from?
Is the gas going up out of the mass, or is it being attracted to the mass?
Yes.
Yes, which one?
Both.
Because at the moment it's going up, away from the mass, and filling the area above the mass.
All right.
Bob, it's going up.
Do
That's
I need
what bubbles do?
All right, so we've got kind of an impasse right here. Do you want me to explain why methane requires the input of gas to be created? Or do you want me to explain buoyancy to you? Which one do you want me to explain?
No, I want you to show me mass attracting gas to it, and not to give me a gas pressure gradient and affirm the consequent of gravity. I want you to show me in physical reality a mass attracting gas to it. You know when gas goes in all directions?
I did.
Listen, you know when gas goes in all directions in a container, I want you to show me the container walls attracting the gas to it. I want you to show me a higher pressure around the mass, because the mass is attracting the gas to it. Why does gas pass through mass, Bob?
You've already answered the question.
I thought the mass was supposed to be attracted. Well, the mass isn't observably attracting the gas to it. Is
well,
it,
you're just
Bob?
going to keep talking over
Is it, Bob? Well, you're not going to answer.
I've already demonstrated it. We have a pressure gradient. That means that there is work being done on the gas of the atmosphere. And in order to have work done on the gas, the mass of the atmosphere, there's a force applied to it. That's why we have a pressure gradient. Force is going downward. Force is going downward.
Right. And what's the direction of gas, Bob?
Direction of gas is in all directions unless it's acted upon by work.
Oh.
Yeah. As long as it's acted upon by work, you can move it.
You know,
that's what work
you know
is.
when gas is in a container.
All right, you keep repeating the same thing.
The direction of the gas?
All right, before I go and answer this question for the fourth time, explain to me exactly why a pressure gradient demonstrates the fact that there's a force acting on the mass of the gas. Because I've already explained that to you three times.
Well, I can demonstrate a gas pressure gradient inside a container with just inputting energy into the system. That energy in this instance could just be heat. I could also produce the gas within inside the contained environment, and I would have more gas where it's being produced than I would away from it. I mean, it's not hard to demonstrate these things. The problem is when I move the container, the gas fucks off. That's the problem. I need a container to keep gas in places, obviously so. I don't need to stay stuck in one big mass attracted. Yeah, I do.
You need to have work performed upon the gas, and it's easy to do. And it's easy to demonstrate.
How do I stop gas that I've contained dispersing into a vacuous space, a much lower pressure system?
By performing work on the system. By performing work on the system.
Fan.
I already have.
So I've got a fan. Okay, I've got a fan and I've turned it on, and that's pushing the gas in one direction. I can show you that. That's working. Now show me gravity working on gas. Show me mass attracting gas.
I've already
Also,
demonstrated that.
If gas,
Look, I'm not going to keep
if
answering the
gas is
same
mass,
question again and again. I've already put in my
you're not
answer. If you don't like it, prove me
answering.
wrong.
You're not. Well, I am, because physical reality demonstrates that mass doesn't attract gas, Bob. That's what I'm pointing out to you.
Yet you can't explain the pressure gradient of the atmosphere. Unless
Yes, I
there
can.
is a
I've
force
done that
acting
3
upon
times just to put energy into the system. Energy, heat. In
That's
many
switching to burden
instances,
of proof
gas
fallacy, Bob.
production, the geopolitical side.
Fallacies don't work
No
on
one
me.
interrupt. Don't interrupt.
And you did interrupt. So fallacies don't work on me because they don't apply to this situation. This is not a logical argument. We're not having a debate over a logical, with formal logic.
It is.
So,
it is, because, hold on, Bob.
and
I
if you
can
are
demonstrate
going to
my
use
claim to
logical
be...
fallacies,
Hold
you
on,
should use
Bob,
them correctly.
please. Bob. All right, let's do this one. I can demonstrate my claim to be true. When I contain gas, I've contained it. The gas is leaving the system. That's why we have open and closed systems, Bob. Now you can just beg the question. Now you can beg the question in the atmosphere and then affirm the consequent with gravity, gas pressure gradient.
Okay,
gas
that's
pressure
two
gradient,
improperly used fallacies. So you can rephrase your question without
because you would
including
most
logical
definitely
fallacies.
have to beg the question that you're on a ball. I'm
Rephrase
just
your
pointing out to you
question
that we are
without
most definitely.
trying to apply a logical fallacy to it.
Okay, can you show me mass attracting a gas particle to it?
Yes, our atmosphere.
No, that's just the atmosphere.
Okay, I can demonstrate. Okay, quit asking me questions very slowly. Now, I can easily demonstrate that you can set up a pressure gradient by applying work to a system. The fact that there is a pressure gradient in our atmosphere conclusively proves that work is being done on the atmosphere. The atmosphere has mass.
Awesome.
In order to perform work, you have to displace mass in the direction of an applied force. Therefore, there is an applied force, and you have no escape from that.
Apart from your first response when I gave you the demonstration of releasing gas into a vacuous space.
All right, I'm not gonna answer this question again. So I guess we're done with it.
Fine.
I'm happy with my answer.
It's fine. Of course you are, because you want to sleep tonight, and that's fine if you want to go.
Well, I'm correct. I don't have anything else to justify.
No, you're not. Actually, no.
All right. Well, I'm done. I'm done with you.
Dispersed in all directions.
All right. I'm just done with you.
You were correct when you said the gas dispersed.
Take care.
That's fine. I'll conclude for you, shush, then. You were correct when you said the gas dispersed in all directions. I'm still waiting for you to show me the work. You keep saying gas pressure gradient because work's happening, because you can affirm the consequence. I'm still asking you to show me mass attracting gas to it because it's mass apparently, whilst pointing out that the gas that we mine that's in the earth is leaving the mass that it's supposed to be attracted to.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go back to that then. In order to create that biomass, the stuff that generates the methane, you require photosynthesis, which pulls gas and material out of the atmosphere. All right. What's the equation for photosynthesis?
Okay.
Is it 6 carbon dioxides? Is it 6 carbon dioxide
if I may for
molecules?
1 second.
Yes.
Plus water
Jedi,
molecules.
if I may for 1 second.
Plus, I'm talking. Plus water molecules leading to sugar molecules and oxygen molecules on a mole for mole basis. So there is no net exchange of gas with plants. Learn
Jedi,
what photosynthesis is.
The reduction
Jedi,
in gas, really.
If I may for 1 second, Jedi.
It's not. It's equal.
The thing is, Bob doesn't know about the Hill reaction, which is why he's saying the things he's saying. Do you, Bob? Do you know what the Hill reaction is?
I don't play definition games with
Just
you.
like
If you
this
wanna,
weekend over.
if you want to call the Hill reaction significant, feel free to explain it. I'll decide whether or not I feel that explanation is correct.
Well, plants don't always need oxygen to create carbon dioxide.
Do tell.
Well, I mean, go look up at the Hill reaction. This isn't
your
class where I
argument,
teach you what stuff is.
you explain the Hill reaction to the rest of us.
It's a light-driven transfer of electrons from water to Hill regions, non-physiological oxidants, in a direction against the chemical potential gradient as part of a photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Go
Okay,
look up
and
the
what are
Hill
the
reaction
materials
and get back
required
to
for
us.
photosynthesis?
What?
What is required? What molecules are required for photosynthesis?
Why are we
Simple
playing
question.
pop science
I already gave you
quiz?
the answer.
Why are we playing pop science quiz?
All right, I already gave you the answer. You have to have 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. You have water, and it yields a simple sugar and oxygen molecules. The gas is a one-on-one exchange.
No, in 1937, they confirmed they found that plants are capable of producing oxygen in the absence of CO2. This discovery was made by Robin Hill.
Is that the way the majority of the oxygen in our atmosphere is created?
It doesn't matter. You're acting like it's a one-for-one. You're acting like it's a one-for-one. It's not.
Okay, so out of 1,000 cases of photosynthesis, 999 of them are exactly as I said.
So is that one-for-one or no?
You found one that might not be. So who's right?
No, might not be.
It is
definitely isn't. It definitely isn't.
Okay, done.
So
All
your
right, no, I've already
one-for-one,
answered
your
the
one-for-one
question.
transfer is debunked. That's not how it is.
I've already answered it. The overwhelming majority of photosynthesis is 1-to-1.
So it's not. So it's overall, it's not 1-to-1.
Overwhelming amount of it is 1-to-1. The Hill reaction is a very rare circumstance.
You didn't even know what it was 5 minutes ago.
How do you know that?
Just like the surface of a sphere this weekend. I keep taking you to school, Bob.
You didn't take me to school this weekend. You gave me something interesting.
Jedi, were you done?
Bob, you actually said you didn't know.
When you're talking about
Jedi, were you done with this guy, Jedi? I didn't want to.
I said about work.
I said
I'm not about what the plants are doing.
There's a difference.
To convert. When you're
Why are you guys talking about plants when?
Hold on.
Elijah's talking.
When you're talking about the work required,
all right, you
the
guys got
plant
about 5
to
more minutes
convert
with
the
me,
gas,
and
right?
then I got to get going.
It's not gravity or anything, is it?
So if you have a serious question, go
gravity
ahead.
isn't photosynthesis, right?
Elijah, your microphone
Bobby, you
sounds
for
like
real
you're
just
talking
talk.
through
Wait. I actually want to hear
I mean,
Elijah what he
piece
had
of
to
cloth
say.
or
You
something.
talked right through him again. I don't care if you're here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes. Don't be rude, please. Elijah, can you ask that again?
Is photosynthesis gravity or something?
Are you saying don't be rude, Paige?
That wasn't
It's
Paige for A.
I'm Stacy.
It's not even
No, sorry about that. My mistake.
even know who you are talking to and the conversations. Do you know where you are, Bob? It's fucking embarrassing.
Look at these red herrings. Look at them run.
Hey,
Yeah,
run
I'm near
scared.
Shepherd, Michigan right
I'm
now.
just
That's
trying
where I
to
am.
figure out the work that plants do to convert the gas. What does that have to do with gravity and mass attracting mass? That's all I want to know.
I think
Well, it
that's a fair
sounds as though there are
question.
no more questions. Thanks.
Because if the gas is produced on the ground level, then that's the obvious reason why you have more pressure on the ground level.
Yeah, and it's not a one-for-one. It's not a one-for-one exchange like Bob thinks. Now that we know about the Hill reaction.
Jeremy, hold on. That's the answer, Elijah. That's why they're arguing about it. And I would say, I don't know, Jeremy, you keep going to the fucking plant. Just go to the ocean. Which is major creator of oxygen, man.
Yeah.
Essex, I know why they're arguing about it. I'm just trying to bring it back to the original point. That's like this point was brought up out of a whole expansive conversation. I'm just trying to bring it back to the initial point because we're talking about photosynthesis and work and all of this. What does this have to do with mass attracting mass?
I already told you.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you. Bob took us on this roller coaster ride, and so I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, but what does that have to do with the conversation we were having?
It's because
I explained to you already.
Because Bob's claim is that the gases are the pressure's down here because there's a force that's attracting the gases down here, and the counterclaim was that the pressure's down here because gases are produced down here, and so Bob's bringing up that the gases produced by plants is less than the gases that they intake. They intake a certain amount of gas and they output less gas.
And that's
not
why
true.
I'm not saying.
Clearly,
Hold on. Jeremy
doesn't know about the Hill reaction.
Jeremy, hold on,
Hill
bro.
reaction
Why
occurs
you
in
keep
the
going to
dark, though.
Why you guys keep going
Silent
to the
Zero,
pyramid?
go ahead.
I
Hill
don't
reaction occurs in
understand
the
this.
dark.
Oh, go ahead, Silent Zero.
I don't know why they keep going to the fucking plants. It's the oceans, the major
It's not
creator
just
of
the
the
plants.
oxygen.
It's
What about the
Yeah,
ocean?
do you know why?
guys.
It's from the algae from the ocean.
It's not just the plants.
What else is it besides the plants?
So it's not just the plants. It's not just the mass of the water and the oceans.
What else is
It's
it?
not just the mass of the ground that the gas
Get to your point.
is already in and being produced. The fact is that it's leaving these masses, not being attracted.
You've still got a
to
pressure
them, leaving
gradient.
them as in, yeah, that's great, and I can demonstrate a gas pressure gradient within a container. I just have to put energy into the system. But what I'm demonstrating to you is the
That
gas
proves gravity.
is obviously leaving the mass, as in 180 degrees antipodal of your claim, where you say it's being attracted to the mass and keeping it there. The mass is trying to escape it, leaving the mass.
So why isn't
It
there a
actually
constant
pass-
hurricane force wind vertically?
I just don't care right now.
Well,
I'm
that's
just
not
gonna keep
even- I
pointing
don't care,
out
I
to you
don't
the
care,
amount of
I don't
times that gas passes through mass into an available space, like the 8-foot containers that NASA have when they have huge vacuum chambers. 8-foot reinforced steel and concrete, that if you leave for a period of time, the gas pressure on the outside seeps through that mass, through it, and into the available space where the vacuum was. So in 3 weeks' time, you've got more gas in that vacuum space.
It doesn't mean there isn't a force present pulling it down.
Hold tight. Yeah. Where it's not being pulled down, it's not being attracted to the mass. It's passing through the mass, not being attracted
It doesn't
to
mean
it
that there isn't
and
a
leaving
force
it when it's
pulling down on
produced
it. Just
Yeah, it's
because
not
something
being-
is moving
thing
a
is,
certain
you
direction
would-
doesn't mean that there isn't a force
thing
pulling the
is-
other direction. Quit
then you
rambling.
would
Just get to your
have
point.
to dem-
Hey, Flurfer, if you're just going to come in here and
No, I'm
interrupt and
not
kind of do that
rambling.
sniping
Really
rude thing that you're
coherent.
doing right now, I'm going to kick you the fuck out. But if you want to have a conversation with someone in a respectful manner, I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, but he keeps talking over me when he pauses.
All right. Well, you guys just try not to talk over each other. But go ahead, Jedi.
Yeah,
Were
get to
you
your point, Jedi.
Point is the gas is leaving the mass. You can't show me anywhere on Earth where mass is attracting gas. You just keep pointing to gas pressure gradients and affirming the consequence. That's it.
That's an example
Show
of
me
mass
mass
attracting
attracting
gas. There you go, the pressure
No,
gradient.
that's a gas pressure gradient.
Yeah, right. And why do we have a gas pressure gradient?
Okay. You know the gas inside the gas pressure gradient. Which way is the gas going? How many directions is it going?
It's going.
Lots,
It's bouncing all around in
Wind
all
and
kinds of
shit.
directions.
Yeah. So not just down. Then gravity is a vector of
Doesn't
down.
mean
just
that there
down
isn't.
one direction.
Doesn't
like
mean
with
there
each
isn't a
rock
force present.
Then show me it.
How would you
Then
like
show
to be
me it.
shown it?
Stop pointing to the gas pressure gradient. Show me mass, a great big ball attracting a gas particle to it.
Okay, the Earth.
Magic at a distance.
The Earth.
So we're going to beg the question.
How would you like to be shown? Like a small scale? I can't do that because the Earth has gravity. That doesn't dismiss the idea that Earth has gravity. That supports.
I'll give you a demonstration. I'll give you a demonstration that maybe you could help. And Elijah, please. After that, these people are all yours. Seriously, I'm done. I got a vacuum.
Yeah, see, your logic is
chamber.
fallacious.
It's
Let me tell you why
I've
your
just
logic
said-
is fallacious.
Yo, Brandon.
just said a vacuum
We just said that they weren't going to talk over each other, and he's doing exactly that.
Jedi's talking over me. It was my turn to talk.
And that's why I called on a third, I'm the third party, fourth party, because that's not what I just heard.
Yeah, I know you guys have this weird, silly bias that you guys just let your side ramble without making a point.
Well, this is why I'm asking for a fourth party, like the person who's actually hosting us here.
I like
Not
to
a
hear
bias.
Jedi's
I
point.
didn't think it was that bad,
Here's
but
point.
you guys go ahead.
One at a time.
Okay, so here's what's fallacious about your logic, Jedi. You seem to be
All
pointing
I
to
said
the idea
was,
that we can't do.
I said, here's a
Okay,
vacuum
so he's going to
chamber.
talk over me. All right,
That's
so
all
he's
I
going to talk
said.
over me. All right.
I just said vacuum chamber.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, Jedi, you
for
do
proving
have to
my
give
point.
him a chance to get his shit out.
Well, he was
yeah,
responding
I know, but he was
with.
talk bollocks, and I just hold on. Sorry, I just said vacuum chamber. All right.
What about a
to
vacuum
start
chamber?
my demonstration of exactly? You weren't fucking listening
he
and
just-
talked a load
you
of
just
bollocks.
did it too, Flurfer.
So let's start again.
What about the vacuum chamber?
Right,
Go ahead, get
so
to your
let's
point.
start
Quicker,
again.
quicker. Come on. Short sentences.
All
I've got a vacuum
Thanks,
chamber.
Flurfer.
It's
Thanks
100
for
foot
coming in, buddy.
tall,
All right.
50 foot up. I've
That's
got a
enough of that.
container of gas. When I all right, no.
Yeah, fuck him.
Good call.
You know, I try. It's just
That man,
I don't know what it
his
is.
roof. Remember, pick your battles, honey. He's one you need to pick your battle with. Don't let him get your heart rate like that. I'm just saying. Don't.
Sorry, I interrupted you and Bob, Jedi.
Well, I was
No,
just
you're good,
interrupting
buddy,
there
don't worry.
because Jedi, like, he was trying to continue with his interruption. Like that last exchange was him attempting to, because you were already talking and then he started talking over you, and then after I jumped in, he wanted to continue his interruption. I'm like, this is crazy.
He's a useless troll, no big loss.
He
I mean,
I think it's
he was making a
public
good
where
point.
where he works, isn't it, Kosho? I mean, he says it all over the place.
Why are you bringing that up?
Because I'm asking you a question.
If it's public where Fluffer works?
Yeah. He brags about it.
I
I can't remember if he's a. Well, never mind. I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if. Yeah, I'm not sure he wants to talk about that.
He
But,
says it all the time, but you know, I well, forget it.
No, if anybody wants to laugh, check out when that guy Flurfer Nerfer was on Oakley's. That shit was hilarious. They thought he was a recorded voice because of the way he's so monotone.
He's a pretty smart dude. I think he's making a decent point, which is backing up Bob's point. There's something that was said a second ago, though.
Well, why don't you pick up his point, Kosho, because his delivery leaves something to be wanting.
Well, so I think I do agree though that he was kind of complaining about the speed of the conversation because he wanted to get to his point, so the other person get to their point. But regardless, yeah, the vacuum chamber thing. I heard somebody say that about the vacuum chamber and the thickness of the walls and the attraction downwards and the seeping through. The thickness of those walls are just due to the size of the vacuum chamber, so it has nothing to do with trying to keep the particles from seeping through. Also, the upward force. So the gas is going all directions, and the gas is escaping.
No.
No. Well, hold on 1 second. The gas is going all directions.
And that was me who said that, and that was
Right.
nowhere
Just give me 1
near
second,
what I
though.
fucking
Give me
said.
1 second, because I'm almost finished. The gas is going in all directions and escaping and stuff like that. That's an understood phenomena known as hydrostatic equilibrium, in which case, in which there's two opposing forces, the outward pressure and the downward force, keeping things in an equilibrium.
Oh, really? Can I ask a question then?
Yeah, go ahead.
So these thanks. So these fantastic particles that are being held down to the ground by gravity. Can you please explain to us, Kosho, how the atmosphere supposedly loses millions of tons of gases every day? Can you please explain us by which mechanism that happens?
And it loses about 3 kilograms a second. Actually, seems like a lot, but when you combine that, you take that as a ratio for the entire atmosphere, it's very minuscule. And it happens because the energy of the sun, most of the time, imparts energy onto particles that are already up there, enough so that they reach escape velocity and escape. And this only needs to happen to a very small percentage of the atmosphere.
But correct me if
All
I'm
right.
wrong.
Sorry,
Didn't you
Kosho.
say that they
So,
reach
sorry.
equilibrium just before?
Yeah.
A minute ago, didn't you say they reach equilibrium?
Yeah, just like a cup of water is at hydrostatic equilibrium, and still there will be condensation on the side, and some will evaporate. Yeah, that doesn't mean it's not in hydrostatic equilibrium.
So let me get this straight. There's a point at which, in the Earth and space, right, these particles reach equilibrium, but then some selected particles reach 25,000 mile an hour escape velocity. Is this what you're telling us, Kosho?
Yeah, I think the smarter people, and by smarter people, I just mean able to understand the simple concept I just brought up, understand it. So I'm gonna leave it there. Okay.
I got you. Can I ask you a question about your simple concept?
Ooh.
You know the gas is leaving the atmosphere within your model. Where's the gas leaving the atmosphere? Is it like all over, like 360 degrees around the sphere, just like leaves, right? Is that what happens?
Well, the pressure anywhere where there's
Just yes or
pressure,
no.
this is anywhere where there's pressure. This is what the pressure is doing. It's gonna be acting again in all directions. So the pressure at any given place, whatever it is, that's gonna be the gases moving away from each other. So if there's a pressure, I mean, it's not happening in a specific place. It's happening everywhere.
Everybody's hearing the double
I
speak
get you,
here,
cool.
right,
So it's
ladies
happening.
and
Oh,
gentlemen?
sorry, got to finish this. Yeah. Right. So this ball that is going in a direction at Mach 90, 60,000 miles an hour. So whilst it's going in a direction, is losing a little bit of gas all around it. Now, being as the body of the mass behind the Earth is literally going in, the opposite direction of the gas that it's not attached to, you would have thought that there, where the gas is obviously going in the opposite direction to the Earth, it would be leaving the Earth easier because the mass is going away from it, as opposed to the front of the Earth, because obviously it's going in the direction where the mass of the Earth is pushing up through the gas, and the gas is leading the way. But yet we've got a perfect circle atmosphere around the gas that just lets gas out willy-nilly all over the place and isn't affected at all by the Earth's movement or direction beneath it. Are you sure, mate?
Yeah,
Kind
I
of
don't
like
think.
funny physics.
Thanks, SC. I don't think that So the outer space or the vacuum of space, whatever you want to call it, there's no drag there. So when gases leave whatever shaped object, including a sphere, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what side of the sphere it's leaving on. It's not gonna leave faster or slower depending on which side it's on.
Can you show me that? Like spin something, throw something in a vacuum, trying to track gas to it. I'll give you fluid, and not have a tail behind the object, even because that's the direction of travel. I would have thought, because of the direction of travel of the Earth, the gas that wasn't wasn't attached to it, that was behind the Earth, the gravity would actually have to be working much, much harder to keep that gas, or in actual fact, any solid object to it. And in fact, so much we don't even notice any difference. We're 180 degrees on the front side of the Earth, and we throw things up and they come down exactly the same rate. And the gas is completely fine, and the mass of the Earth is going in the direction, but the gas is the actual thing that is leading the way. It doesn't work, mate.
Yes,
your mass
does.
Isn't attracting.
The centrifugal force
isn't attracting.
doesn't have a preference in which way it's spinning. It's going to be going outwards in every case.
I'm just talking about the mass not attracting the gas to it, and even when it's going in the opposite direction to it, it doesn't mean a thing to you.
It still has
the
momentum.
You spout
of
physics
the Earth.
sometimes, but don't understand this.
Here comes Uncle Phil.
Still has the momentum of the Earth. Right. So let me give
still
you
has the
thought
momentum that it
experiment,
had
my friend.
in the other direction.
Yeah. Got you.
How come we're only allowed to have short answers,
So
but you can have very long answers?
Hold on, my friend. Let me do this short with you as you're here, my friend. Let's have me and you on opposite sides of the Earth, 180 degrees opposite from each other. I'm on the front of the Earth. You're on the back of the Earth in regards to the Earth's direction of travel. Now, I throw something up in the air and you throw something up in the air. Now, when I throw something up in the air, because I'm leading the way, the Earth is actually rising up beneath the thing that I've thrown up in the air. On your side of the Earth, when you throw something up, the Earth is leaving, going in the opposite direction of the thing that you've released, thrown. Right. Now, this is obvious to anybody. Me, I should catch the thing quicker because the thing that I'm standing on is going up in the direction of the ball that I've just thrown. You should have a delay in time. It should take the
That
ball
is an
longer
unbelievable.
to catch it because
that is unbelievably not
hold on,
understanding a thing about gravity, is it?
Well,
Or
hold
how
on.
things
You've just
work.
chucked that in. Hold on. I'm just pointing out that if I want to conclude you understand what I'm talking about, then gravity would have to work differently. So me and you appear to have the obvious same effect of me and you throwing things up and down and they coming down at the exact same rate all the time that they do. But even though the Earth is doing something completely different underneath us. In my instance, pushing up and going in the direction of the thing that I've thrown. In your instance, going the opposite direction. Therefore, increasing the distance. I've decreased the distance, you've increased it. You've just said gravity. Yeah, gravity thinks about this, doesn't it?
Can we
people.
Can we speak as well, ma'am? Because Professor Phil said it in 3 simple words. He said it's the conservation of momentum. That is, it keeps the conservation of Earth's of the momentum it had on Earth. It's the same way if you were on a plane and you had a ping pong paddle, like those bouncy ball paddles, both going in 2 different directions, one facing forward in the plane and one facing backwards. They're not going to be experiencing. You're not going to be experiencing something different on either side because they're traveling with the plane. It's like everybody on Earth who throws a ball is traveling with the Earth.
A plane is an enclosed system.
Am I decreasing my distance? And is our friend increasing his distance? I'm decreasing my distance because the Earth is going up. Let's keep it simple as I've thrown the object up. So I'm going towards the object. Our friend's on the other side of the Earth throwing something up, but he's now leaving the object that he's thrown. But you're just going to give me reasons and excuses and say that I don't understand something potentially. No. Gravity,
You most certainly don't understand.
Hold tight, let me finish and then I'll shut up. Gravity would most definitely have to work differently on all instances around the Earth because the Earth is doing something completely different underneath you or any object that is left it. So me and you, 180 degrees on opposite sides of the Earth, we throw things up because the Earth's doing something different. I'm decreasing my distance and you're increasing your distance. I'm just going to skip over that, aren't you?
No, you said all of
that. You clearly don't understand the concept of conservation of momentum. You just absolutely don't understand it at all, do you?
The conservation of angular momentum, you said?
No, not angular momentum, just momentum. Because you heard the thing about the ping pong paddles. They're not going to experiencing different. Like if they have the same rubber band on each of them, you're bouncing them one direction, you're bouncing in the other direction. According to the way Jedi just explained his idea of the way it works, is the one going forward in the plane is going to be experiencing a much more difficult time coming backwards to the paddle, whereas the other one and the person facing the back of the plane, the ball should be rushing towards the paddle. But neither of these things happen. They move at the same rate. Yeah.
I like Elijah's question.
But check this out. Check this out though. I'm thinking about it like this: when you throw the ball, is it colliding with any of the air particles in the plane?
Yeah.
Or are the air particles conserving momentum as it travels with the ball?
It's colliding with the air particles in the plane. Yeah.
Right. So why isn't the Earth colliding with the air particles as it's moving in a direction and the air itself is unbonded?
There's no air in the vacuum of space.
But there's no specific vector. So as the gas is going all over the place, but the Earth has a at least curved path around the sun, right? As it's moving along with the sun, why isn't it colliding with any particles?
There's no particles out there. It's like minuscule. There's like.
Well, I'm talking about the particles of the Earth itself. It's out there. It's like it's not a part of the Earth.
But everything that's in space is in orbit around something else.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but
why are we allowing them to beg the? Why are we allowing them to beg the question? Shouldn't we? Don't they have to prove gravity first?
Somebody else brought this stuff up, man. This is
My thing would
Jedi's
be is that we've
example.
begged the question from the beginning because it always goes back to creation. And I don't know if you guys agree that the everything we see in our observable universe is expanding from a singular point, but every justification for why we have the things that we see in our created environment is actually a violation of the first law, aka the justification gravity.
The first law.
Yeah.
Which first law? The first law of thermodynamics?
Yeah.
The matter can't be created or destroyed? It's not.
Or energy, right?
Yeah,
Like
so it's not being created or destroyed.
So, right, so I think I heard someone else mention that the Earth is moving in a frictionless environment, right? All of the particles that exploded into existence individually or divisibly from this point is moving into a frictionless environment. However, we're living on an Earth. We see the sun. In your story, in order for that to happen, it had to have, where did the energy come from? Because your justification is gravity, but that's a violation. Sure it is.
It always existed. Nobody claims that it was created in some explosion. They say that it expanded, but it didn't say that it appeared there. It was supposed to have been there. And gravity is just a force, just like the other three forces.
Listen, if it's expanding in every direction away from the central point, everything, right? Then where did the energy come from to create spheres?
Yeah, space is expanding, but in the galaxy, in any given galaxy, the objects in the galaxy are not going to be expanding away from each other due to the dark energy because of gravity. Gravity is working against that.
Well, that's
effect.
That's the violation I'm talking about.
It's not a violation. It's a law. There's those are parts of the law, so they're not violations.
No, in your creation story, it is a violation if you accept the creation story to be true.
It's not a creation story. I told you how your idea of it was flawed. It's not. Things weren't created in that event. The claim is that things existed in a small volume and expanded. That's all. That's all the claim is.
Okay, it existed. Everything in our observable universe at some point in time, far back in time, it was in a very small volume, a small. Let's say the singularity, right? A single point. Then everything expanded away from that point into a frictionless environment. Where is the energy coming from for any of these things, all of these particles that are moving into a frictionless space? Where is the energy coming from them to collapse back in on themselves, forming spheres?
That's a phenomena famously known as gravity.
No, it's the justification for the first law violation in your story.
It's not a first law violation. That law says that matter can't be created or destroyed.
In your story, it is.
That's
though,
not happening.
because
Matter's not being created or destroyed. Okay.
So I'm talking about the energy. So you have particles, right? And the particle. So the particles have the energy to expand indefinitely, so long as it's not colliding with anything. In which case, if the universe is expanding, it's not colliding with anything. In your story.
Okay, so the dark energy.
So where did the spheres come from?
The dark energy is explained as the space expanding. Okay, gravity is the explanation of warping space-time due to the mass, which appears to attract mass to other mass. This is the phenomena that you're asking about. Just like electromagnetism, it's the phenomena known as these like particles. Opposite particles with opposite charge attract each other. Where does that energy come from? Nobody knows. Nobody knows why that happens, but it's just what happens. And gravity just.
What does space expand into, Kosho? Where does space expand to? What does it expand into? Where is this space that space expands into?
Yeah, that's a very strange question. It's like asking what happened before time.
It's not a strange question.
That's not an answerable question. That really isn't an answerable question. They can speculate on what it was, what it is. What I'm saying is,
It expands into something. It's got to expand into something.
The space that we're
begs
dealing
the question:
with.
how would they know that that space?
Listen. Space is everything that expanded, right? Is within the space of that expansion now, right? Like everything from that central point in between, from that central point to the ending point, whatever is the furthest reaches of the universe in that story, everything in between is the space that the matter is not filling. That matter is going in all directions opposite of this singular point. None of them are touching, none of them are slowing down because it's going into a frictionless environment. So why is it changing direction?
I just told you. The dark energy is the name of that, is the energy that expands the space. So that's taken care of. Gravity is the name for the thing that is coalescing the masses together by warping space-time. That's the name of that phenomenon. There's other phenomena too. There's electromagnetism, there's the strong force, there's a weak force. These are just physical forces.
What's your name?
Does it sound like circle logic to anybody else?
Yeah. Circular reasoning, begging the question. They have to prove gravity first. Stop talking about gravity until gravity has been proven first. Then we can talk about it.
Drop something on your foot. There's gravity.
Well, this is why I'm pointing, like, because if you beg the question of their creation story, the gravity is the justification for why it doesn't make sense. But gravity is just a word. It's just like, oh, the reason that things are collapsing in on themselves is because this force, aka this energy, that came from where?
Yeah. So what Einstein had what Einstein has brought to us that people have tested since is the idea that mass itself, it existing, warps space-time. And we've tested this by testing the way time changes when near a mass or further from a mass. So this is not. That's the answer. The phenomena is known as gravity. It's just what we call it.
You make it sound like Einstein came down a mountain with stone tablets in his arms. Says, "Here's gravity, relativity."
They make it sound almost infallible, right?
Me and Brendan didn't do this, but Einstein did this. He actually came up with these ideas that are novel ideas and were completely insightful to how the universe works.
So did Joseph Smith.
Man, or is he a god?
Yeah, but we tested Joseph Smith's ideas and they don't work. We tested Einstein's ideas and they work every time.
Yeah, time changes and matter gets smaller and longer, and it's so stupid, man. And everything exploded from a single point.
I never said those things. Elijah said those things. I said things were in a small volume and they expanded.
Where do we experience time dilation?
That's still your story, man. Your story is there was nothing, and then something happened, and then there was
never
something,
said that once,
and
buddy.
it kept
Don't put words in my mouth.
expanding. This is your story.
No, don't put words in my mouth, buddy. You don't understand Big Bang Theory, and so you're repeating it back to me in the way in which you don't understand it. That's not my story.
Tell me who came up with the Big Bang Theory?
I just told you the way I understand that theory.
Who came up with the theory?
Hold on.
Who came up with the theory?
Hold on. Don't just let him say shit. That first of all, you're saying it didn't explode. It went from this infinitely smaller point and then it expanded out. I don't give a shit what you call it. I'm not talking about the energy that was put in to cause the explosion or expansion. I don't care about any of that. I'm talking about after that initial point, everything is expanding. Where's the energy coming from for it to do the opposite of expanding the way it was doing just fine? And you're saying, well, because of dark matter and all this other stuff.
Elijah, we're getting a lot of wind.
I did not say that once. I did say dark
energy. Did he
dark
not?
Energy was the name of the expansion, is what I said. And then I said gravity is the name of the phenomena that is bringing mass together. Now, the fact that these principles, that these phenomena are what we're witnessing, nobody knows who wrote these laws.
So what didn't you say that I said? So what didn't you say that I said?
That dark matter is the reason they're coalescing. I didn't say dark matter once.
I didn't just say that. I just repeated what happened in the conversation where I said, okay, you have this expansion, and then you said, well, dark matter, and then you said mass attracts mass because of gravity.
Dark energy.
He said
because of the warping of space-time.
I said dark energy expands it, not dark matter. and I said gravity is the name of the phenomena that is what we see when we see mass coalescing into bigger objects.
Dark energy, the thing that space supposedly expands to.
No.
But I'm not asking. I don't. Okay, so it's dark energy that's expanding the universe. Okay, but I'm asking for the energy that's changing vectors.
The force is called gravity.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Like electromagnetism. If you had a
electromagnetism,
hold on. You guys all take forever to get to your point, and then whenever someone starts speaking, you cut them off.
But you're not really addressing my point.
The electromagnetism is another one of those forces, which nobody knows how these forces, who wrote the laws for them. But the result you get is when you have a positively charged particle or a positive pole, and you have a negative pole, they attract each other without any energy from anywhere. There's nothing. There's no. You don't have to have any energy inside of a magnet to make them attract to each other. You just put it down there, and they attract. Because they have electromagnetism.
Can you magnify?
That would be magnetism. Okay, cool. Okay,
so
gravity is something that does something very similar, except it deals with just your everyday matter versus the things that are magnetized, in which it would be magnetism.
Bingo.
Hold on a second, Elijah. Let me clear something up real quick.
Ever.
Let me clear something up real quick. He said He said gravity is the name of the observed phenomena we see, which is things falling down, right? Kojo?
I don't see things falling down.
Yeah, well,
I'm just trying to get kosher.
Jeremy, the truth, the truth is, we named the phenomena of things falling down on Earth, as well as things orbiting other objects. We named that phenomena gravity. Yeah.
So if gravity is the name of the phenomena, then gravity can't be the thing that's causing this phenomena.
No, gravity is the name of the phenomena. So that's what I'm saying. It's not what's causing it. Yeah. Gravity is the name of the force that causes it. And then Einstein came along and said it's a curvature of space-time, which we also call gravity. And he defined it as being the acceleration due to the curvature of space-time. And he says that you can equate that to being in a gravitational force because all observations and scientific testing won't tell you anything different. If you do anything,
okay. Can you give us science? Hold on. Give us a scientific test because I was just about to ask where we observed time warping and all this.
And what aspect of gravity are you talking about?
Okay,
are you talking about the down bias?
For example,
hold on, guys.
Yeah,
hold on, guys. We can't bombard them with too many questions at once.
Yeah, there's plenty of tests, but a simple one is the one where they have two atomic clocks and one near the Earth is traveling is running at a different speed, and one higher up in a tower.
But what's the observed phenomena though?
That is the observed phenomena. Is two different clocks that are both atomic clocks. One
is that a
one lower to the
natural observation
Earth, one higher above the surface of Earth.
Guys, hold on. Guys,
natural atomic clocks.
I want to ask him what part of gravity are you attributing to the Big Bang? Is it the mass attracting mass, or is it the downward bias?
I feel like you're barely in this conversation, man. Like you hear some things and you don't hear everything, but the questions you're asking are not in any way, they don't make any sense.
Because I'm not interested in the nonsense bullshit that you're talking about. That's why I'm asking you my question.
I want to hear from Jedi.
Asking don't make sense is what I'm saying.
I'm just wondering how you got gravity meaning two different things.
What do you mean?
You said it's the observed phenomena and it's the force.
Yeah, ask him to define it.
It's the observed phenomena. The observed phenomena could be things like things falling, and we name that phenomena gravity.
Falling!
Gravity is what makes things fall. And then Einstein says that it's a curvature of space-time that gives us the observation of gravity, which is things falling, things orbiting, mass attracting mass. It's not confusing.
Gravity is the force and the observed phenomena. Both you named it the same thing.
Are you, Jeremy? Don't be obtuse, man. It's not hard to understand what I'm saying, man.
It's also the cause.
I hear what you're saying.
Turning into a ball, so that's what I want him to explain.
But I mean, let the record show that I was talking about the first law in the creation story. Gravity is the justification. He's not really saying how this can happen or how it isn't a violation. He's just saying, yeah, it's fine.
Yep. That's all. That's all.
It's
It's,
not a
just
violation,
there. He's
but
saying
in
it's a
any-
law,
in any-
so it's just there. That's just the way it is. They don't
No,
know what the
it's- it-
cause for this space-time bending. It's just some shit they made up so their equations work out.
Well, why aren't you asking the same question about, well, there's a first law of thermodynamics, which I think I understand, but I see magnets attracting to each other. And there's no extra energy there. No, there's not. You're right. So it's not a violation of the law. These are just the way forces work. When you have a force, those forces do the work that is the energy.
Yeah, I just checked out when you started talking about fucking singularity and dark energy and all this.
I never said singularity.
Ridiculous shit.
That's what Elijah brought up.
Yeah, well,
you guys complaining about things that I didn't bring up or even say. I didn't say anything about a singularity.
Well, he didn't say anything about it. But when you talk about how the universe got here, I mean, do you believe that the universe is expanding from a very small volume versus what it is now? Like,
Yeah,
if you say yes, then we're on board.
The observations we've made for the last 100 years show us that the universe is indeed expanding. Yes.
So then he's hold on. So for all intents and purposes, then you're making distinctions without a difference. And it's
No, I'm
annoying.
saying for the last 100 years we've been able to measure the universe expanding.
Okay, I'm saying if that's what you accept as a story, obviously there had to be a beginning, right? Then all of everything in existence is supposed to be separating and divided from each other. Where did the energy come from for any of that shit to reverse in on itself and cause spheres? And you're saying, well, dark matter is the reason it expanded. And what's the reason for the opposite vector of the expansion of these particles?
Yeah, the forces.
Oh, okay.
Brandon, are you any closer to an understanding of their religious texts, Elijah? Because I'm not. It's just like a boring ass story.
I'm
that
still
I've
waiting
heard
to
50
see
times.
what things are falling.
It's contradiction on top of contradiction. I
The contradiction.
like arguing
Why don't you have the same questions
here.
about magnets?
What about magnets? I can
Yeah,
hold
why didn't
two
you have the same
magnets.
question about magnets?
I can at least hold two magnets in my hand.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you about what you're talking about the violation of the first law.
No, within the begging the question of your creation story. That's the key
You
part.
understand that forces. If you have a force, you're not creating energy out of nowhere.
Brandon.
Yeah.
See the picture I've posted?
Which one?
1146 I've got.
Okay.
I'm sorry. One more. How is that?
Elevation.
Like
Hold on, let me just go through this picture with Brandon, then you can rant on all you like. Brandon,
We'll give you a chance in a minute, Neil, because I hear you in the background.
hold
You're a
on,
little low,
Neil.
Neil.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
All right, here we go. So what am I looking at here, Brian?
That's from one side of the Earth to the other, 8,000 miles elevation profile.
Yeah, it's there's no curvature.
Now, if you expand it and look at the verticals, are they intersecting or are they parallel?
Yeah, they're parallel on
The
this
two
chart.
end ones should point at each other, shouldn't they?
You would think so, yeah.
It's nonsense. They're telling you. It's right in our faces.
Of course. No one cares about curvature. No one uses curvature. It's nonsense.
Them two end verticals should be pointing to each other, and the others should be an array of a curve, and they're not. They're vertical, and they're parallel to each other.
Yeah. We don't need to hear the excuse either from the Globers. We already know what the
Fucking
excuses
nonsense. And that's their own bullshit fucking globe Earth. Google
But guys,
Oh,
dark
that's
matter.
when Oakley.
Dark matter exists.
Oakley and QE showed us that. They're referencing a flat plane there. There's no curvature.
No
it just
curvature.
looks like there's curvature for the religious. That's the religious visual belief aspect.
Where verticals are vertical, they don't intersect to the center point of the Earth, which they all say they do.
No.
Why would an elevation profile show curvature?
Brian, you're 100% right. Listen, this right here, just like Jeremy said and QE and everybody else has said for years, this is a religious icon right here. This thing.
Left plane. The elevation profile is referencing a flat plane.
Where's the picture?
It's just it's referencing elevation values.
Yeah, from a flat plane. From a flat plane.
On a flat plane with verticals that run parallel. Do not intersect.
You could take an elevation profile from a circle, a sphere, and it will plot out on an x-axis.
Well, that's not what they did. They took their elevation profile from a flat plane, didn't they?
Jeremy, do you want them to plot it on a fucking circle for you?
I mean, it would have made more sense if
Why
we're on a
would
globe,
they
yeah.
do that? That's retarded.
Because they're saying we're on a globe.
The elevation
They're saying we're on a
profile.
globe, and they're referencing it from a flat plane.
The elevation profile is what you live on, not that ludicrous fucking spinning ball.
They're referencing it from the values, the numerical values. It's not.
It's complete and utter
it could be
nonsense.
off. It could be off of any shape.
Your elevation profile is not proof of anything, Brian. You just know that.
Yeah.
Just
it's
know
just
that
the
you
utter
lot talk
absolute
fucking
lack
shit.
of using curvature for anything. That's
Why
the
would they
evidence.
use curvature to plot an elevation
Oh,
profile?
no, Andy, we don't use
That
curvature
would be
for anything.
idiotic.
Don't
That'd be
even
idiotic.
try. Curvature's not used for anything.
And actually, wasn't this the same conversation this morning with Quantum and at Nathan Oakley's about curvature and elevation? Same freaking conversation that you guys want to keep having. It's getting pathetic.
The one that brought it up.
Flat earthers, so guys.
Hey, I did want to give Neil a chance because he tried to speak up there a couple times. If he's still here, Neil, are you still here?
I just want to know what's falling. I'm looking around. I don't see anything falling.
Throw something up in there.
What the freak is falling?
Drop something on your foot.
You got to pick it up, Neil. You got to pick it up.
Holy shit,
then
I'm
drop
looking
it on your
around. I'm
foot.
looking and looking and looking. Oh, there goes something. Oh, but it's heavier than the air. That's why it's coming down. It's a leaf.
Lord.
Holy shit.
Hey, when you pick it up, make sure you're not underwater and make sure it's not a balloon filled with helium.
Oh, there's a helium balloon right there. Look at that. Holy shit, everything's out today in Brooklyn.
Right?
So other than helium, what else goes up?
Gases go up.
Yep.
Anything less dense than the medium it's in.
Exactly. End the story.
That's how you know which way it'll go. Let me read this real quick though, because I've had it on here for 30 minutes. Silent Zero, $2. How do they quantify the lost? What's the mechanism been used to measure the loss of gas? Oh, yeah, this was when we were talking about the amount of gas that is supposedly just kind of bounces its way out of Earth, according to this nonsense bounty ball model. How do you measure that? Anybody want to take a shot at that, Phil? I think that might have been you talking about that.
Bounce?
Yeah, you never heard this story?
Bounce.
They measure this with they got certain satellites that are measuring.
Satellites are measuring the amount of gas that floats away from the Earth?
Perhaps he doesn't care, actually. I don't know.
Or are they just
Well,
calculating
their
it?
arse like everything else.
Yeah, it's just calculated based on some bullshit. Yep.
No, it's not. They have measurements of not only on this planet, on observations made towards other planets. They have satellites that are they're I know that they're used to measure something to do with the magnetic field.
Yo, hold on, Kosho. Kosho, hold on, guys. Somebody's got a crazy mic.
Kosho about this.
A lot of rubbish.
I think it's Brian.
Brian, your mic's messed up. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Stacy. Go ahead.
I'm sorry too. I think we're all having a little bit of issue, but we
No,
asked
Andy.
maybe a year ago how many gases and how
Hold on,
Andy,
Stacy.
mute.
Hold on.
Mute.
not me. It's not me.
It's
Nope.
not. It's not Andy.
It's not Andy.
My,
Left lane?
mic lights up all the time, but it's not me.
Okay.
Blame it on Kosho.
Is it?
Somebody.
I think it's you, Stacy.
It might be
It's
my
Stacy.
connection. I'll be back.
Oh, it is
It's
Stacy.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Sorry. We were trying to figure it out this whole time.
I'm thinking about the whole
Hold on,
thing,
Stacy.
like,
We got to figure out what's going on.
I got the
How
blame
come
for
it goes
that.
away when?
Is it gone?
Yeah. Wait. Say something again.
Say something. I'm giving up on you.
Oh my! Now you just got that stuck in my head. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry. But no,
It's
we were
still a
talking
little
about this
noisy,
like
but
a year ago.
It's okay. It's still a little
What is
noisy, but
maybe it's my mic or something.
something. It
Am I
sounds like
too
a
close
loose
to
wire
it?
or something kind of
Okay.
loose or something.
This is what I'm gonna do because I don't want you guys to hear racket. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out for a second, change my headset, and I'll be back.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Stacy. Okay, guys. Well, very kinetic show so far today. Did Ruhif come back in? No, he did for a minute. I was hoping to get to yell at him again. That's all right. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about? Phil's here. Let me ask Phil something. He's a physics professor. Let's ask him about this thing. Probably get the same answer. Are you there, Phil? Professor Phil? Are you available? No, that's okay. All right. Never mind. Open floor. Of course, now no one wants to talk. What the hell? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, I wanted to say something. I just don't know if the wind's blowing too bad. Am I coming through good?
Yeah, you're not bad, actually.
Mic check.
I didn't catch. I was coming from the truck to the house. I didn't catch who was talking, but somebody was saying that, like, the singularity with the dark matter was acting as a resistance, but didn't it come out of the singularity?
No, it's acting as an expander. That's what he said. But I brought up the singularity, so don't trigger him.
Well, I would just say that if something's gonna expand, there has to be something there to expand into.
That's what I'm saying. What's the counter space that is occupying?
Yeah, you can't just
see while that is logical. I think, well, I mean, and I guess this is just my opinion because I'm begging the question too. Like if you have something traveling in a direction and there's nothing to take away the energy, there's no friction, nothing. It's going in that direction. The only thing that would change its direction would be a force. There's or energy, and they're saying that that's gravity. So I'm saying,
Yeah, but
wow,
gravity-
that's a justification for the first law violation there.
But
Like,
the
why would they-
only force,
how does gravity-
Dark matter.
But in this hypothetical scenario, the only force will be where the particle is escaping from. There will be no other forces other than the initial force.
Yeah, where I was going.
This is
with
what
that
I'm
is I
saying.
was
That's what I
picturing-
mean. After the initial force and the expansion,
Where will the
everything
other
is
force come
expanding.
from? If the particles are
Yeah.
expanding, all escaping from the initial force, there would have to be
Well, hold on,
another
just let
force.
me explain
They'll
this
just say
real
they
quick,
don't
guys.
know.
Where I was going with that is, I'm trying to get a visual. Might sound silly. Picture that in my head, and I always get to this point where all this matter and everything is in this, like the head of a pin, and it's there just being stable. Obviously, it has to be there. So another force had to cause the explosion. It's already stable.
It's all a story, bro.
Yeah.
Don't you
I
get
agree.
it?
We're begging the question.
It's all
We're
a
begging the
story
question,
that they
but-
came up with.
It's like
all bull.
You know, back in the day, they used to try
Isn't
to
that a-
figure out, and they'd have like these academics to sit around and try to figure out how many fairies or how many angels could fit on the head of a pin and shit. That's the same thing we're doing when we start talking about the singularity and this expanding matter and all this shit. It's just nonsense.
Exactly.
The
Brandon.
problem is when you put it to word and you start talking about it, people start thinking about it. But when they give you these stories and they give you gravity and these key phrases that they like to use, it's a story. It's fantastic. You don't think about it more than that because they make it sound fantastic. But when you hear regular people conceptualizing it, then it start hitting you. Damn, this shit is nonsense because you can't conceptualize it in reality.
Yeah. Well, you know how we asked. You know how we asked. Well, you know how we asked why the air is leaving.
Oh.
You know how we asked why the air is leaving the Earth if there's mass attracting mass. Well, I mean, I guess you could bring that question straight to the point where the universe was created and expanded the way it did. Why didn't gravity just stop it and keep it the singular thing that it is or was?
Gravity is not as strong a force as the dark energy, the expansion rate. The expansion rate is stronger than gravity, except for things on the local scale. In places like the galaxy, things are close enough together that they can be attracted towards each other faster than the rate in which the universe is expanding.
Everything that God just said is bullshit.
Things further away from that are not close enough for gravity to be stronger.
So where was it when it expanded?
Everywhere.
What's the location of the expansion?
Do you guys
one at a time.
Let's let whoever
Okay,
was going.
where did it expand?
There you go.
Where was
Everywhere.
it?
Everywhere.
Where was this singularity?
Everywhere.
Where it,
Every point.
Every
No, no.
fucking where.
what was everywhere? It's a pinhead. Where was that pinhead located? In what medium? In what space? In what?
Everywhere. Wow.
That's
Good
I told
story.
you basically
Question
say
is
something that
nonsensical.
Two things that I think we should stick to and not deviate from is show gas pressure without a container and prove gravity. If we just stick to those two things and don't allow them to beg the question, I know it's fun to beg the question, but I think we should stick to those two things.
I agree because
that's what I'm saying. But everyone's begging the question. At the end of the day, because we're talking about the why isn't it going into the vacuum? We're doing the same thing there.
Let me answer Brandon's question.
But real quick. And I'll leave my point alone. But you have the expansion, right? So what I'm saying is, if that story is true about creation, everything that we observe is a violation. The Earth already being here is a violation. Viewing the sun is a violation. Looking at the Milky Way is a violation. What is he talking about? These parts are like close enough to each other.
What are you talking about?
What does that even
I was
mean?
looking at the sun a violation.
I'm talking about if you consider everything expanding away from each other.
Yeah,
like how does it get to the point where you're looking at a sun in the first place?
You missed the part where I told you things inside of a galaxy.
Yeah, you said gravity.
Close enough. Yeah, things that are inside of a galaxy are close enough.
Why?
So this is the reason why you said what you just said. It's because the first time you didn't hear it. So stop interrupting.
No, you didn't hear what I said. The things that are close are expanding away from each other.
Attraction is going to be outdone. It's going to outdo the dark energy. So you're not going to see them expanding away from each other. You're not going to see the sun move away from the earth.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the expansion of all this stuff. It's all moving equally in a vector away from the point in which it was a smaller volume. What are you talking about? It's closer. It's all whatever relative distance anything is to each other it doesn't matter because it's all expanding away from each other.
See, now this is the part where you have to listen instead of talk, because what I said was things that are closer and this smaller than a galaxy, which is the distance between our sun and us, which is much closer than the size of a galaxy, and the molecules inside of your body. These forces are strong enough at these scales to outdo that expansion, to where you're not going to be. You're not going to notice it. It's not going to be relevant at these scales. Only on scales larger than a galaxy.
Yeah, but he's saying these forces are expanding with it. They came from it.
How does
And
the force
how,
expand?
and how are galaxies
No.
so selective that they just simply form in
So-
certain places, right? Why is the whole thing not a galaxy?
The current
right?
understanding is that there was dark matter that basically formed a web from quantum fluctuations in the early universe, which is what allowed galaxy nuclei to form in order to allow, pockets of lots of matter to be together.
And people
Do we
believe
understand
that
why that happened? No,
Yeah.
we can't begin to
Cool story,
understand
bro.
why that
Cool
happened.
story.
That's
Dark matter, dark
you're asking
energy,
for-
all
you're
this
asking for
stuff,
current
unicorns,
understanding. Are you just
Sasquatch.
going to be an
It's all
ass
in the
about
same
it, or do
fairy
you actually
tale.
want to learn something?
What's a galaxy nuclei? I want to learn something. I've never heard that phrase before.
What's dark energy? What's dark matter?
Hold on. What's
What is
this
any of it?
Why are we
galaxy
talking about
nuclei
a
thing?
topic that I guess nobody here really has a
aren't going to believe any of it
fundamental
anyways. Why do you care?
I
If
mean,
you're not going to believe any fucking word either me or Coach say, why do you even ask the question to begin with?
Yeah, there's no
About
conclusion
galactic
to be drawn.
nuclei?
Or why do you answer it?
Why don't we talk about other things that we can draw conclusions on?
Well, I made a statement.
Hold on a second. Hold on a
to be
second. If
fair-
somebody's
to be
going to
fair-
ask you a question,
to be fair,
Exactly,
I
Howard.
actually made.
Let's talk about real things.
Yeah,
To be
right,
fair,
brother.
I made a statement. My statement is that if the creation story is true, then it's a violation of the first law. Everything that I'm experiencing right now, because I wouldn't understand why the fuck it would do the opposite of expand it. And you're giving me a justification of a story of how potentially it could have been that but turned into this. And the answer is the for whatever reason these divisible parts were close enough that they decided to go back in after the expansion. They're doing the opposite, attracted to each other because of gravity, because of the warping of space-time.
Yeah, that's
because
the
of the
story.
mass of the object.
That's
or the
their
particle.
story. Yeah.
I don't believe that shit.
Warpitude,
I'm making a statement. I'm not asking questions.
Your understanding of what happened is grossly oversimplified, so that's why you think it couldn't have happened. Sorry.
Yeah.
those
Well,
laws
you know,
developed
why would
after
you
the Big
waste your
Bang.
time trying to figure
Oh,
that
yeah,
out anyway?
right.
Maybe those laws weren't laws until later on.
We don't know what the
They
fuck
weren't
happened
understand
5
that
billion years ago.
Force being applied to
The
something,
only
not creating
I
energy.
would say that
So I don't know why this is not. It's like if there's forces that happen all the time, like in the strong force, electromagnetism. Nobody's confused on the fact that the energy is being created out of nowhere, because nobody claims that. Energy is just the amount of work that an object is capable of doing or is doing, but the force is the actual. Force is if you apply a force, you can transfer the energy. Okay, so it's not like you're creating energy out of nothing. Like just because gravity's working doesn't mean that energy is being created out of nowhere. That's not how it works. That's not how
I said it's a
defined.
justification. I said it's a justification of the violation. That's cool.
So hold on a second. When you say prove gravity to them, right? They'll just say, "I dropped something."
I posted a
Right?
paper. Posted a paper in there.
Well, hold on. Let me finish, man. I was talking. So the force of what makes things go up or down is relative density. If the balloon is big enough, it'll pick you up.
So
And
James,
you got to have a pretty strong force to hold it down, because the force of the relative density going up.
So
right?
we understand buoyancy.
So that same
pretty
force.
well.
Hold on, I'm almost there. That
James,
same
wrap it up, bro.
force-
You gotta be concise.
I am. I'm done right now.
All
That
right.
same force
That's
also
not
occurs
buoyancy.
down. Hold on. It also occurs in a downward direction of any variable until it meets its equilibrium, its medium.
I incorrect,
So-
but nice
so
try.
what you're describing is buoyancy, and to have buoyancy, to have
No, it's
buoyant
not.
forces-
That's gravity.
Okay, Jeremy,
No.
Jeremy, are you going to interrupt me or are you going to let me
just
talk?
throwing something.
That
in there
wasn't me. I don't know why you're saying my
Buoyancy
name.
is invoking gravity, and you haven't proved gravity.
You
So
haven't
stop
let
the
me
shit.
finish talking. So in
Get 'em,
order
Neil.
to have buoyant forces that cause balloons to go up, you need to have a pressure gradient on the balloon. The pressure gradient requires either a acceleration or something like gravity to allow the pressure gradient
What I
to
tell
form.
you,
Without the pressure
bullshit.
gradient, you don't get fucking balloons going up or
Calm down, Neil.
any
Well,
other bullshit.
pressure gradient is a delta to pressure. You don't get a gradient
Where'd you get
without
gas
first
pressure in
What
the
having
first
are you
place?
talking about,
pressure.
you idiot? How do you
Yeah,
get
he
pressure
got
gradient
gas
inside
in
of?
the first
How do you get pressure inside of a container without some sort of acceleration downward? Please tell me that.
Hey, the moron is here.
Hey,
Good
look who's
moron.
talking, Mr. Moron himself. How are you doing,
Stupid
SE?
moron. Look
Yeah,
how he
look who's
enters
talking.
the arena.
Yeah, who comes
You
here?
clown.
Hold on,
Look who's
hold on.
talking,
So
SE.
let
Ask a
me
simple
finish with
question.
this
Can you
guy.
answer the simple question, SE? Probably not.
Yes, I can. I can answer it. Is there more pressure at the bottom of your tire than the top?
Yep.
Yes, a little bit.
Oh yeah. How much is a little bit?
A very little bit, because it depends how big your tire is.
Well, it's measurable, right? Why don't you give me the measurement?
Probably not if your tire is normal size.
So you're saying that
So
there's
it
more
means
pressure at the bottom of the tire?
Yes, there's more pressure
absolutely.
about the tire
Oh,
than the
that's
top of the
fucking
tire.
hilarious.
Do you
That's
need
No,
the,
it's
do
true.
you need the tire to have? Do you need the tire to have gas pressure?
No.
Okay.
But that's
What
not
are we
because
talking about?
not because of the pressure in the tire. It's not because of the tire. It's because the tire is
Because
inside the gravity well of Earth.
Does the gas pressure in the tire,
The
is it lockstep
gravity well of
like the
Earth?
atmosphere?
Yes, the gravity
Hold on,
well of
guys.
Earth.
Fucking mind?
No,
Let me
yeah, you
finish
probably,
with
if you
it,
don't think,
man,
if you just
please.
deny gravity, you've lost your fucking mind. Yes.
Hold on. In the tire, is the air pressure, the gas pressure, lockstep with the rotation of the tire?
No.
Oh, so there isn't more pressure at the bottom.
There is more pressure at the bottom than the top, but that doesn't have to do with
Well,
the
then it
rotation
would
of the
be in
tire.
lockstep, and your tire would be
No,
off balance.
incorrect. No,
James,
incorrect.
you're
Yeah.
ignoring viscous forces within the
That's
tire.
why your
When,
tire
when
gets
something
bounced.
when something
Because
is
of
in
the pressure.
motion, you have to take more things into account. If your tire's at rest, yes, there's going to be a pressure gradient within your tire. If the tire's moving, there's going to be, viscous forces that cause pressures to be more complex than just a simple gradient.
Okay, now let me say this. Okay, let's say it's 36 psi within the tire. You got 36
gauge?
psi.
36 gauge or 36 absolute?
Let's say that the tire isn't quite perfect. There's if you was going to have a blowout, it's going to go to the least resistance of the tire. Is this pressure that's at the bottom of the tire more significant than the errors made from the tire? Can you measure you see what I'm saying? Can you measure?
So yes, the pressure at the bottom is always going to be higher than at the top. However, once you put a hole in that tire, then the pressure is just going to go out the hole. It doesn't matter where the hole is, because the pressure.
Yeah, what
inside
I'm
the
saying
tire
is
higher
you're
than
making a
atmosphere.
claim. I'm trying to get the measurement of gravity giving the tire more pressure at the bottom, right? Because you're claiming that's the case.
That's correct. It's very
So,
small, probably not
You
very
just
difficult
said a
to
little
measure.
bit. You never gave a measurement per PSI.
Well, it depends how big. Depends how big your tire is. Depends how big your tire is. A lot of other things.
But if it's less significant than the weak spot in the tire, because the tire, you might have
You totally
an area
misunderstand
over
this, by the
here.
way.
You might
There's
have an
no-
area in the tire that shows
What's
less
your
pressure because
fascination
it's
with tires
weaker.
these days?
Well, it's
God.
the only way you can have pressure is a container.
Incorrect.
Surface
It's
area.
called gravity. It's called gravity.
You're a
Yeah,
moron.
okay. You have to
Who's
prove
talking?
gravity.
To have pressure.
I
You
am.
can't
What's
just
holding your
invoke
ass
it.
to
You
the chair
gotta
right now?
prove it.
Yeah, what's holding your ass to the chair right now?
I'm sitting in the medium of air, and I'm more dense than the air.
Yeah, you are definitely more dense. I'll give you that. But
So
that's not
wait
the
a
reason
minute.
you're being
Were
held
you
to
the
the
one
chair.
that said the universe is contained? Wasn't that you?
What's that?
Didn't you say at one time to
Silence.
me when we went down this whole containment that the universe was contained?
I don't know. I don't recall
Possibly.
saying that.
Oh, how convenient.
Well, it may well be.
But
I don't
he
know.
did
But
say
that's
that
nothing to do
there's
with
more pressure at the
that has
bottom
nothing
of
to
the
do
tire.
with that has nothing to do with air pressure on the Earth. But okay,
Well, you say
Can
it's
you show-
gravity,
can
right?
you
And
show
it's about
gas-
that pressure here on Earth.
that's correct.
Gravity is 100%
Yeah, can you show
adequate.
gas
So the
pressure without a
barometer
container
reads at
without
sea
taking
level. The
the
barometer reads 14.7 psi. What's that little bit?
Actually, the barometer will measure in inches or millimeters of mercury. But okay, you can
Without the
convert.
container, there can be no pressure.
Incorrect. It's called gravity.
Where's the
Pressure.
container at,
My
Neil?
argument.
Well,
Hold
Where's
on.
the container? Where's the container? Show me the container, Neil. Neil, where's the fucking container?
It's called logical deduction.
No, it's logic. The Earth is
Show me gas
science is
pressure.
under no obligation to be logical to your simple mind. I'm sorry.
Well, you gather a hypothesis
You can't understand gas pressure out of container.
from logic.
Yes, you can. It's called gravity. You complete another moron. Show me a picture. If you claim there's a container, show me the container. Show me the container.
Show me gas pressure without a container.
Burden of proof, reversal
Show me the
fallacy.
container. Show me the container. If you
gas
claim there's a
pressure
container,
without a container.
show me the fucking container.
Would you shut the fuck up?
Show me the fucking container.
20 times.
One at a time.
Without circular
Show me the container. Show me the
hey,
container. Show me the
guys,
container. Show
guys.
me the
We
container.
have.
Guys.
We have.
Listen.
Guys.
All right,
We've
let's
shown
start.
Clean this up.
over and over.
Clean this up one at a time, or I'm gonna start
Every
muting people.
day.
Can you guys hear me?
There's tires and
Okay.
everything that show containment of gas. Now we're talking about, right, this model you say, right? This is an open system. Now I want you to explain to me how that's working because you want to claim it's gravity. Show me. Show
Gravity.
me, please, how you're having gas
pressure doesn't
pressure
have the ability
without
to
a
do work.
container.
Atmospheric pressure doesn't have the ability to do work on itself. That's why it doesn't need to be contained. That's the only
Atmospheric pressure. Is
How
atmosphere is gas.
come you all claim the container, yet you won't show me the damn container?
Oh yeah, like I can just hop in a fucking jet.
Burden of proof, reversal
Or
fallacy.
No, it's not a burden of
isolate.
reverse fruitful fallacy. You're claiming the container. Show me the container.
No, you're claiming gravity without showing gravity. Get it
I can
right.
show you gravity. Want me to show you gravity? Hold on a second. Hold on. Listen.
Yeah, show me gravity.
There, right there.
I want you to verify.
Take something in your hand. Do you have something like a pencil or something?
Moron, listen up. Listen up,
Show
moron.
it to
We're
me
claiming
like you
can't
can
have gas
water,
pressure without
air.
a containment.
Yes, you can.
Moron.
Essie. Where's the container, Essie? Show me the container,
Reverse
Essie.
the burden, moron.
No, it's not reversing the burden. You claim there's a container. Show me the
Can I
container.
finish with this guy, please,
Asking
guys?
for a chance
He's
to
shifting the burden.
Yeah.
This
James,
guy's
show me the
control
container.
Wrap it up.
One
Right?
breath on him.
Stop. The claim is no container. It's your proof to show that this exists with no container.
I can.
And no
Yeah, right now.
gravity.
I can show you
have
right
to
now.
Show me. Do not put the
I am.
burden on us. I'm sick of that.
You claim there's a container. Show me the
you say.
container.
Show me
Hold
gas.
on, let me
I
get
know.
him.
Who's not
gonna
do it?
I'll
It's
get him
okay.
right now. He
There
will
is no
not be
container.
able to escape from this if you let me say.
Yeah.
Let me get him. Okay?
You can't get me for shit. There's
Gravity.
no container.
Gravity, okay? I said show it to me, and you was gonna have me drop something.
Yeah, drop something.
This is what okay, let me finish, dude.
How
Before
about
you,
the Cavendish experiment?
this
That's
is what
good
I'm
too.
gonna tell you,
Hayden
okay?
Asher,
I want you to vary and manipulate.
Experiment, you blowjob.
Let me finish, please. I want you to observe, vary, manipulate, isolate, and control gravity.
Do it. The Cavendish experiment. Cavendish experiment does it very well.
Oh, the Cavendish. So we've been to the moon since
Very
then,
mass,
and
and
you're
therefore you
relying
get
on.
Cavendish in the vacuum. There you go.
We've allegedly been to the moon.
Guys,
Yes,
you're
not
relying
allegedly.
on Cavendish.
Not allegedly. We've been to the moon.
Guys,
Okay.
can I now talk?
Chant for us. Chant
Yeah,
for us.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Andy. Chant.
All right.
Please let me
Cavendish
talk
go
because you
through the
guys are just
scientific
yelling
method?
at each other.
Yeah, go ahead, Elijah. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me get this right. So we know what gas pressure is defined as, right?
I mean atmospheric pressure.
The more frequent. No, I'm talking about gas pressure. Just the gas laws. So you have collisions with the walls of a container. Okay, so when it comes to the air that we breathe, you're saying that gravity acts as the thing against those collisions. I'm trying to envision it in my mind where you have particles heading away from the earth and then colliding with the force of gravity and then coming back in the opposite direction.
Have you ever thrown a ball up in the air?
Oh my god.
I mean,
Same
it's the
thing.
That's not
thing.
colliding. That's
Totally
not
the same
colliding with it. That's not
Throwing a
colliding with
ball
it.
in
Yeah,
the
it
air
is
is
actually
the same
colliding
thing as a
gravity.
gas molecule.
Hold on. Let's let Elijah
Exactly,
and
it's
Peyton
not.
Asher Shill go
A
back
ball
and
is
forth
not
here.
a gas molecule.
Let's-
No, you can't allow him to makes a gas molecule like a ball.
Neil.
All right, never mind.
Elijah
Never
will
mind.
take-
Everybody's too high.
Elijah will take care of it. Just let him go back and forth.
All right, I'm on mute. You'll never hear a word from me.
No, Neil, you're more than welcome to speak up. I just don't want 3 people to talk at the same time. That's all. You done, Elijah, you said?
I mean, yeah, if I'm gonna fight for the mic.
Well, that's kind of how it always is around here, as much as we try. But yeah.
Because it takes me to stop and actually, because I'm working too, so I would have to stop and then try to make a point. I could do that in 3 minutes, but
yeah,
like if I'm interrupted, I can't just stick around and not work at the same, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be windy and annoying. So it's like when I do get a chance.
All right, let me ask a question.
Let's let Neil.
And then
my bad.
And then I'll let Neil. Why does why can't there be a, what is it called? A pressure gradient. Why can't there be a pressure gradient on a flat plane?
Without gravity?
That's my question. Why can't there be a pressure gradient on a flat plane?
With or without gravity?
Well, not
You
with
can
your
only have a
story
pressure
of
gradient
gravity. Hold on,
with
James.
pressure.
Not with your story of gravity.
It's not a story, sorry.
With what the effects and the phenomena that we see. Why can't there be a pressure gradient?
You would just need a downward force, and you would need, if it was a flat plane, you would need walls to the.
We've got one.
No, you don't.
Why do I need a downward force? Then we're going to get back into that.
Well, you'd have to have something that creates that gradient. The gradient is only caused by acceleration of the gases, which would be a force acting on them, which would give them acceleration. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the density of the gases sitting on top of the
That's
flat plane.
incorrect. That's incorrect. Otherwise, we'd all be sitting in a bunch of xenon or something.
No.
Density
the downward force.
That's
density
absolute
alone
fucking nonsense.
doesn't create acceleration. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
I
you
mean,
said.
you would-
Yeah.
I mean, we would not be breathing any oxygen because we'd have a thick layer of like xenon and all the other heavy gases at the bottom of the well on Earth. How come we don't have that?
And you wouldn't weigh any more than the pressure is acting on you. We all weigh more than that.
What do you mean we wouldn't weigh any more than the pressure that's acting on us?
Well, if that's what's keeping us down, if that's what makes us go down, then why do we weigh more than the pressure, than the force of the pressure that's acting on us?
Doesn't how much I weigh depend on the medium that I'm in?
No.
Yes, it does.
no,
actually.
not really, but-
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it
Well,
does.
That's what weight is, the downward force created by the disequilibrium between the object and its medium. That's what weight is.
No, incorrect.
It's 100% correct.
No, it's incorrect.
It is. If you suspend me in a medium,
What's the units of?
if
what's
you
the units of
suspend
density?
me in a medium that is the exact density of my body, and I'm in equilibrium, how much am I going to weigh?
What's the units of density?
What will I weigh in that case?
What's I don't know. What's the units of
What
density?
will I weigh in that
Zero.
case?
Nothing.
Thank you.
What's the units
very
of
much.
relative density?
So weight
What's the
is
units
the
of relative
downward
density?
force. How do you measure weight? Paid NASA show.
Force times acceleration.
How do you measure weight? Paid NASA show.
You step on a scale.
What
That
and what does the
measures your-
scale do? What is the mechanism by which it gives you a reading?
And it has your mass and has
No.
acceleration. gravity, and
What
gives
is
you a
the
weighting.
mechanism by which a scale works? When I put something on a scale, what happens? What is the mechanical mechanism on the scale?
Generally, there's springs.
Shut
or
up, Andy.
piezoelectric-
Paid NASA show. When I set something on a scale,
Is that what
what
you're
is the
going with?
mechanical
Is that what
mechanism
you're
I
trying
see?
to say? Yeah, you're measuring the force through the acceleration.
Oh,
Due
no.
to gravity.
No. That's not it. Why are you
Yes.
adding shit
Yes,
in?
it is.
What I'm measuring
I'm not
is
adding shit
the
in. That's
downward
exactly what you're doing.
force that the object
That's
puts
correct.
on the scale,
Gravity.
correct?
Thank you.
And then you're adding, you're
Force
saying,
equals mass
then
times
you gotta
acceleration.
get your religious shit in there. You gotta go gravity.
That's not religious shit. Force equals mass times acceleration.
Because you're so excited, you don't want to let 1 second go
Force
by
equals
without
mass times
adding
acceleration.
these
You disagree?
other ideas, this other
Do
story.
you disagree
in
with
that you
force
have.
equals mass times
When
acceleration?
all you need to say is that weight is measurement of the downward force of an object. That's all it is.
Yes. The mass.
And the
You have to
only
have
way
your
you
mass.
get that downward force of an object to weigh, to measure, is when something is in disequilibrium with the medium it's in. Because if it's in
No,
equilibrium, it won't weigh anything.
Force equals mass times acceleration. It's that simple.
No, what I just said was simple. Then you got to add this
No,
other
no,
stuff.
what's
You
the
got to
unit-
add
what's the
force,
unit-
acceleration.
what is
You
the
got to
unit-
add all this other
Better
shit.
off
Well,
getting
none of it's
rid of-
How do you get a
necessary.
force?
None of it is
How do you get a
necessary.
force? How do you get a force from a unitless, vectorless number relative
Brandon,
density?
I agree with your line of argument.
How do you get a force from a unitless, vectorless number, which is relative density?
Go ahead, Elijah.
Yeah. As I said, well, I wanted to respond to what you said, Brendan, though, because
the only reason
what you just said, yeah. Well, maybe I'll in a second, but just remember what you said, Brendan, because
Go ahead, Kosho. We're not going to get anything up more.
well, but what you just said about the, let's say you had a spring scale and you're weighing something on a spring scale. Your claim was just that if you're measuring a force, and that force is that disequilibrium between the object and the medium that it's in.
No, that's not what I said. I said,
that's what you said.
The force,
Yeah.
you measure the force when there's a disequilibrium between the object and the medium that the object is in. That's when you can measure the force. That's when it has weight.
The only reason that's true is just because buoyancy will.
That's your story. That's what you say. That's what you tie it back to gravity with.
Well, no,
And that's my
well, no,
point.
no, but that wasn't my point.
I'm
point
talking
is,
about the actual phenomena and effects that we're seeing, the empirical data that we have, and then you want to bring it in. You have to bring it in to this whole gravity idea that you have.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about what you said. That's what I'm trying to respond to. I haven't even said the point yet. But
all right, go ahead.
The thing that you said about the disequilibrium allowing you to measure that force, that is also true. That if it's equal, you cannot measure you won't measure any weight because they'll be equal. But if it's not equal, as you said, you can measure this force. But that doesn't satisfy or answer what that force is.
Of course it does. The force is due to the disequilibrium between the object and the medium it's in. And that causes the object, if it's more dense, to go down, and if it's less dense, to go up. That's the effect. That's the phenomena that we're measuring.
Yeah, but if that were true, if it was if that were the truth, then in a state where they were disequal, like in a vacuum chamber or even in your room, you would have a very heavy object and a very light object. You put them both on the scale, and they weigh two different things. So I don't see how it would just be the.
Say that.
Yeah,
say that
like
again.
both,
That didn't make any sense. Say it again.
You have two objects
because of
with
the
100 pound
variable.
mass. You have a 100-pound mass. You have a 100-pound mass, and you have a 1-pound mass, and they're both in a zero volume environment. I mean, a zero density environment, so something like a vacuum. And you weigh both these objects, they're gonna have different weights.
Duh.
So the weight, the downward force.
You in a different medium.
There's more matter to the bigger object, Kosho. Duh.
Well, then use the exact same amount of matter.
Medium. You said it was because of the disequilibrium with the medium.
Yes, that's why you get the force, Andy.
No,
that doesn't tell you about the scale of the force.
But if you're in a vacuum, there's not a medium to be
The vacuum is the medium, you fucking asshole.
Holy shit!
Well, then how do you?
It's a man-made. It's a man-made medium.
How would you determine what?
Not a medium.
Yes, it is. Shut the. That is so fucking ridiculous, Howard. That makes me fucking so sick, dude. It is the lack. Is there anything such as a perfect vacuum, Howard?
Nope.
Then there's always a medium, isn't there?
No, it's negligible.
It's oh.
Brandon, they're going to weigh the same whether or not they're in a
negligible,
vacuum
isn't
or
it,
whether
boys?
they're in air. It's going to weigh the same.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
But you could say
The weight is force. Weight is force, Andy.
He's not taking
Weight is
into
force.
account what Brandon said.
You can say something
not
has
taking it
weight
into
or
account.
something has matter, but what's going to give it directionality or what we perceive to be a vector would be its relationship to the medium. Because, for instance, if I ask you what's the weight of the sun, you can't. How the fuck would you be able to answer that? Because there is no up or down. The down would be the center of the sun, but where would that down be? Why would there be a down?
Nobody answers that question. They tell you the mass of the sun. Yeah, don't you just wait for the sun?
Well, there you go. But it is air. It would have to have weight, right?
It would only in
It's
a gravity well.
actually found the weight of the
in
sun
a gravity
Google,
well.
if you're interested.
You mean in the vacuum of space?
In the vacuum of space, the sun doesn't weigh anything.
Sure it does. I found it on
Space is
Google. It's
fake.
1.989 times 10 to the 30th kilograms.
Yeah,
That's a
but
mass, not a weight.
it's giving you kilograms. It's giving you the mass. Yeah.
Any
Math.
proof of the space you speak of?
How do you get the mass of something on Earth, Kosho?
You can determine.
What do you
what
implement do you use to get the mass of something on Earth?
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's one word answer. It's really fucking easy.
I'm trying to tell you because you don't know.
I do.
Even if you think you know, you don't know.
Then what is it?
But up until 2 years ago, they would compare its weight with an object in France, and that would give it its mass. That's what defined a kilogram.
So its weight gives you its mass on Earth.
If something's mass, you have to compare
Why
its
not
weight
England?
to
So
the known mass of.
stupid,
That's
double
hilarious.
talking nonsense.
Truth,
Wait,
man.
why not
That's fucking
Italy?
hilarious, dude.
Wait,
Why
mass
France?
aren't the same.
I'm gonna do a scientific experiment.
Where are
but I
weight
gotta
and
tell
mass
you
Every time you
different
don't
on Earth,
understand
Andy?
something, it's just double talk.
Where are weight and Earth or mass different on Earth, Andy?
Weight is a force. Mass is a measure.
Where
of the
are
amount of
weight and mass different on
matter.
Earth? You're going
They're not even the same thing. Mass is a measure of the amount of matter. Weight is a force.
Now
They're
you're
two
making my
fucking
point
different
for me.
things,
Now you're
Brandon.
making my point for me.
They're two different things. They're not the same thing.
Hey,
You can weigh
Brandon.
something to get its mass, but that doesn't mean that weight and mass are the same thing, Brandon. You're trying to conflate the two ideas. but
Why
they're
they
not
give me the
same
mass?
thing.
Why they give me the mass of the sun in kilograms?
Without an acceleration, you don't have the weight.
You can weigh the same object in a vacuum chamber and on the
Because
equator.
that's a
weigh it
mass.
somewhere-
It's
and
not a
weigh it
weight.
some-
It's a
and
mass.
weigh it somewhere else, and they're going to weigh two different things. They're going to always have the same mass, though.
I want to see it.
So hold on a second. Just like the damn gyro, if at the equator it's 15 degrees per hour, then just about everywhere on Earth it should be less than 15 degrees per hour.
Still 15 degrees.
The
per
same
hour.
with huh?
It's 15 degrees per hour everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are
Yeah,
on Earth.
but on the equator it rotates faster, don't it?
No, not angular rotation is the
doesn't.
same no matter where you are on Earth.
Oh, I was the globe tards have always said that.
No, he just played a
as
he
you
just played a
deviate
trick on
from
you,
the-
James.
Angular speed is the same
He just
no
played a
matter
trick
where
on
you
you.
are
Now
on
he's
Earth.
gonna tell you that you'll move 15 degrees an hour no matter where you are on Earth, and he's gonna completely ignore the fact that on the surface of the equator in their model you're going 1,000 miles per hour, and if you're standing on one of the poles you're going
Tangential-
0, and he's gonna act like that doesn't make
Tangential
any
velocity
difference
isn't the same thing as
whatsoever.
angular speed,
I know
Brandon.
that.
Tangential velocity
I
and angular
understand
speed
that.
aren't the same
I
That tells me
understand
that
that.
the Earth is flat.
I'm just talking about a gyroscope.
Double
okay?
speaking
So
at its
if the only way
finest.
for James
That
to
tells me that the Earth is flat and the sun is moving. That's
Hey,
the
man.
reason you get 15 degrees per hour no matter where.
Hey, you're jumping around, man. Okay, what you said before is only
No,
slightly
it was
true.
going. It was going to what
What
he
you said
was
before
saying.
was only
James,
slightly
let him
true.
finish.
Was only slightly true if you're talking about a pendulum and a Foucault's pendulum, and it's the opposite. It's 15 degrees per hour at the North and South Pole, and non-existent at the equator. But if you're talking about a gyroscope like the ring laser or something like that, those don't have different rates. Like a ring laser gyroscope, it's going to be the same rate everywhere on Earth, just like Andy was saying.
So we would see the Earth turn under helicopters and drones and hot air balloons and airplanes, right?
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
with powered flight, it doesn't mean anything.
Double speak
Powered
alert.
flight don't mean
Double speak
That's
alert.
fucking crazy,
Incoming.
man.
Has
Y'all
nothing
really
to
thought
do
they
with
would
the
have something for
projectile.
that.
It's an observation.
Powered flight allows them to stay in the air longer, which means you would observe more deviation, and you don't. So powered flight has
They're
nothing
able
to
to
do with it.
maintain their
There's
position.
nothing.
There-
Nothing about
there's
being in a
no
helicopter.
Coriolis,
There's nothing about
There's
being in a
no-
helicopter that's going to cause Coriolis to happen. So
but there's no
Define
Coriolis effect for
Coriolis, Coco.
there's no Coriolis effect for shooting stars.
Coriolis effect requires
the-
two reference frames.
Yeah, well,
If you don't have two different
I
reference
mean, I wasn't
frames, you
saying
cannot
anything
have Coriolis.
at all. I really wasn't.
That's
Can we have the
James,
ballers
James,
define the
listen.
Coriolis effect? That should be
They
interesting.
don't know how.
How
They don't
about
even know what
Kosho?
it is.
Let's let everyone finish their sentences.
You can be talking about it specifically, or you can talk about it generally. Generally, it's the deviation of an object on a rotating reference frame. That's seen from the rotating reference frame.
Deviation.
Specifically,
Is it an actual deviation?
What was it observed by?
Specifically, it's an object, a ballistic object traveling north or south, and the deviation due to the Coriolis effect of the different speeds, depending on where its direction is going, north or south.
Wrong.
That was a lot of word salad there.
That was perfect.
Is it a visual effect from a rotating frame of reference? Yes or no, Kosho?
Exactly. It's a
I
visual
hear you
effect.
say somebody was talking over you. Yeah.
Okay, is it a visual effect resulting from somebody on a rotating frame of reference observing something traveling in a straight line? Yes or no?
I had said that exactly, dude. I said it's the deviation of an object moving on a rotating frame. So yes,
An actual
deviation
deviation or an apparent deviation?
It's an apparent deviation. It's going to be a deviation. It doesn't matter. It's apparent. It's an actual deviation.
No. But the object is traveling in a straight line, though, right? In the other reference
from outside the rotating reference frame, you can see that it's traveling in a straight line. But from the rotating reference frame, it's not going to go in a straight line, and that's actually happening. So there's no point in saying it's not actually happening.
Hold on. This is important, guys. Hold on. You mean, Kosho, that it's actually rotating?
I mean, if you're actually on the rotating frame, you're actually going to experience it deviate. Yeah.
So it's actually rotating.
You got it. You got it, bro. Yes. You got it. For example,
so let's get
you're
on the outside looking in.
You got it straight. You asked him like 3 times.
No, because
you set it. You set him up. Knock it down, or get off the pot.
Let's go on a merry-go-round, Kosho. I'm on a merry-go-round. The merry-go-round is turning. I'm on one side. You're on the other side. I throw you the ball, right? Now, when that ball leaves my hand, is it traveling in a straight line?
As seen from the non-rotating reference frame, yeah. As seen on the merry-go-round from both of our positions, no, because we're on the rotating frame.
Yes, but it's still traveling in a straight line.
The person on the rotating frame,
oh my God.
It's actually turning, or it's just a visual effect?
If you're actually on the frame, you're going to experience it deviate. Actually. If you're actually off of it, you're going to experience going in a straight line.
It's a fucking visual effect!
You guys
he's holding 2 different opposing views at the same time.
This object on the table, the gift that I posted. The guy's passing it back and forth. From the non-rotating frame, it looks like it's going in a straight line. And from the rotating frame, it's actually making a circle on the table.
Kosho, why can't you just say it's going in a straight fucking line?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me help, guys. I'm the one that brought it up, so let me help. Let me help, guys, because I brought it up. Please let me help. If somebody's on the outside looking in, the variable or projectile is literally going in a straight line. Just because you're on the rotating reference frame, it doesn't, from the guy outside looking in, it doesn't deviate to him. It's still a perfectly straight line. So when you're on the rotating reference frame, it just appears to deviate.
Right. So in the
it's still lined up with your target.
James, I totally understood what you said the first time you said it, and the many times you repeated it. But here in the gift that I showed, James, I'm only going to say this one time. And I'm going to say it quicker, okay? So you don't have to wait for me to finish. I mean, you can wait for me to finish, then it'll take 2 seconds. The object on this GIF right here, the guy's passing it back and forth. In the frame that's spinning with the dudes, is it making a circle on the table, or is it going in a straight line from that frame?
I'm trying to find your screen here.
It's not my screen. I posted a picture, a GIF, and it's like 3 GIFs up.
Oh, my bad. No, I'm just saying it's fine. It's not. The projectile's traveling in a straight line, regardless of the people.
That's fine, but that doesn't answer my question. My question is, in the frame, there's a GIF that shows it in 2 different frames. It shows it from two different frames. It goes back and forth from two different frames. I'm gonna post it one
Is
more
it
time.
on the table? Is that on the
when
table?
whenever they're
Kosho, you think you're gonna get away with this stuff?
Hold on, SE. Hold on, SE. In the frame that's rotating with the dudes, when the frame is in the rotating frame, does the thing appear to be going in a circle or a straight line on the table?
Does it leave the table, or is it rolling on the table?
You're not gonna get away with this stuff here, bro. This is not gems, bro.
Hold
It
on,
ain't
let
gonna
me
work.
try to find what you're
But
looking at.
that's
Just
because
going
you
off
keep
what I-
asking him questions.
being
Like
explained.
instead of giving what should be a real world example, like
This is a real
like
world
I'm-
example.
Like for me, I'm thinking, okay, shooting stars. Where's the apparent deflection there?
Has nothing to do with this, man. This is a real world example. This is visual.
No,
this is
it's
actual
genius.
demonstration actually
Genius.
there in
Is
a
the
real life
plane
example.
traveling on the ground?
A
Genius.
shooting star
Is
has
the plane
nothing to
traveling
do.
on the ground?
apologize, guys. I'm trying
Is
to
the
find
ball
this image.
traveling on the ground? What do you think you're trying to
I'm
pull
looking-
here, Cocho?
I'm looking
Hey,
in the
Ed,
general to try and
I
find
know.
this
Yeah,
image,
James,
guys.
James, I've just posted it again. It's the last thing
We
that's
don't-
posted.
In the general?
don't
Is it
need
in
the
general?
image.
In general, yes.
We
in
don't
general.
You're
need
not
the
telling
image.
me where you're.
I'm trying to tell you, but people are talking for some reason. It's at the very bottom of the general page. Very bottom of the general page.
Okay.
Right below me is Stacy and Bev.
Yes.
And right above that is the GIF in black and white. And there's an object, and it goes back and forth.
Yeah,
from
the
one
only
frame
thing
to the
turning is the table.
right, and when the
The only
camera's
thing
on the table,
turning is the table.
right, and when the camera's on the table, turning with them, and it's viewing the same object that they're passing back and forth from that frame, it's making a circle on the table. If there's a marker on that object, it would be making a circle on that table.
Is there anywhere we can
rotate under airplanes?
Is there anywhere we can see
Do
this
you think
phenomena?
you're gonna
Hold
get
on.
away with this, Cocho?
Is there anywhere on Earth where
Really?
we can see this phenomena due to the
Yeah, you shoot a
rotation of the Earth?
ballistic.
Huh?
Yeah, you shoot a
Does
ballistic.
the balloon
No.
rotate on the ground, Cocho? Cocho, does the
If you
balloon
shoot a-
rotate
if you
on the
shoot a
ground?
ballistic, or if you
He's
Does
gonna say
the
Earth
bullet
rotates
travel on the
sniper
ground,
bullets,
Cocho?
but it doesn't rotate under airplanes.
yeah, no. So a ballistic, when traveling from north to south, is a ballistic is an object that has no there's no forces acting on it once it leaves it's shot off, and then nothing's affecting it anymore. That would be a ballistic
You
object.
see how that's a.
An
You see
airplane
how
is
that's
not a
a.
ballistic object.
You see how that's a false
How
equivalent.
about a hot air
though,
balloon?
right?
How about a hot
You
air
see how
balloon?
that.
It's also not-
Hold on, let's
it's
go
also
back
not
to
a
that, guys. That's a false equivalent.
Right, so the Earth turns under a bullet that's in the air for like 2 seconds.
No.
It doesn't turn under
How about
an
the hot air
airplane that's
balloon?
in.
You're not
Hello?
understanding.
Air
You're
for
not
an hour.
understanding what's happening. It's not that it's
How
rotating.
about a
Okay,
hot air
so
balloon?
It's not that it's rotating.
no,
underneath. It's not that it's rotating.
guys, he's got two. He's
You're
got
avoiding
two
the
different
question,
reference
huh?
frames.
Yeah,
Here's
I
one of
would
the ones
too
I
if I
said
was you,
before
Coach.
you jump in with something different. It's not rotating underneath the
You
bullet.
got
because
two different
it's-
reference
Hold
frames.
on, man. It's not rotating underneath the
So-
object just because it's in the air, James. Hold on. It's deviating because it's the place that it's over is traveling at different speeds. It leaves the bullet going one speed and it goes to some target somewhere north or south that was rotating at a different tangential speed. That's where the deviation comes from. When you realize
You don't
Coriolis.
see the two different reference frames in here. In your example, you don't see the two different reference frames?
reference frames, whatever.
Well, there's people standing on the ground turning the table, right?
That's right.
So you got two different reference frames. So when
Right,
it comes to Earth-based Coriolis, what are your two reference frames?
One reference frame to experience Coriolis. You experience it
No, you
from
need
one
two.
reference frame. You experience the deviation.
two.
You experience the deviation from one reference frame.
For
the
it to
rotating
happen, you need two.
Yeah,
For it to
you
happen,
infinite
though,
amount.
you
Every
need two.
object exists in as many reference frames as you need. There's not a limit on reference frames.
So the Earth-based Coriolis effect, what are your two reference frames?
On the rotating frame, the one experience it, the one where the Coriolis happens. The one would be outside the rotating frame, the place where it doesn't. It was not.
Where's
happening.
that at?
That would be a
Where's that
point
at?
out of space. That would be a point out of space.
Can I point out that in his example,
Earth would be
right,
turning under that second
hold
point.
on, I'm sorry. His example, the thing that they're spinning on the table, it's going in a circle back to the person who shoved it off. So it doesn't have a straight path separate from the rotating reference frame. Guys, come on.
Yeah, they do.
That's why it's a false equivalent. That's where I was going with that.
Dude, they draw out a straight line that follows the path of it. They show you that it's a straight line.
You're delusional, bro. You have
man.
two opposing thoughts in your brain at the
Argue
same
that
time.
they're not drawing out the straight line.
No, the example that you're showing would be like putting your car in park or in neutral and expecting the Earth's rotation to turn the wheels and have the car stay there. That's what it's a false equivalent of Coriolis.
It goes across.
Either way, it still requires two reference frames.
It goes across a straight line. Coriolis doesn't require you to view it from two different reference frames. You just have to view it from the rotating.
Yes, it does. You have to have two.
View it from the rotating frame.
Different.
Kosho,
All
you're
right,
delusional.
guys.
It's a visual effect.
So you have to have
We're
one
gonna wrap
that's
it up and do final
inertial
thoughts.
and one that's non-inertial.
I got
That's
final
correct.
thoughts.
That's
on
nonsense.
this.
All right, let's
He
do
is
final thoughts.
delusional. He is
Someone's
delusional.
watching it or not.
All right, we're gonna go with final thoughts. Why don't we start off with percentage? I know you just got here. You want to say anything?
Nah, I'm good.
Cool, man. Allie B? No? Andy?
I don't understand why they're literally arguing the same point, and it's kind of pointless, but whatever.
Bandsaw? Oh, he's on thing. Kara in Kentucky. Hey, I saw you boosted the server, Kara in Kentucky. Thanks a lot, man. Elijah F.
Yeah, just want to say thanks for having me. And the thing I want to point out, as a recurring theme, is that when you point out a contradiction, they don't do anything other than give you a justification for that contradiction. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Yep. Aaron. Global virus foe. Jeremy.
Yeah, I just want to point out the last hour we've spent debating Coriolis could have been avoided if we had a gyro deviation of 18 degrees per hour. That's all.
No, it would be less, right?
Thanks.
No, this is final thoughts, James.
Thanks, Jeremy. Illegal.
Hey, thanks for having me. Enjoyed the show. I would just suggest that even as fun as it is, I would not allow them to beg the question. I know it's a lot more fun. We have more debates. It's a lot more fun, but I would just stick to not allowing them to beg the question and hold them right there until they get past that threshold. But that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Illegal. James.
Great show. Keep it up. I guess this one wasn't too great, but keep it up, Brandon. Well, I want another show out there than Nathan Oakley and stuff. So keep it up.
All right, thanks, man. Jedi.
Show, Brandon, mate. Appreciate you let us be here. It's just going to keep it very simple, very short. Mass doesn't attract gas, obviously. So, thanks, buddy. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Jimbo.
Well, things are going to stay the way they are. Again, there's an explanation for, reduced air pressure as you increase in altitude. It's going to be the water content. Que sera, sera. Let's keep fighting gravity.
Fair enough. Thanks, Jimbo. Kosho.
All right. First things first, what Jimbo just said about the pressure. So there's a downward force and an outward pressure, and this is an equilibrium, and that's why there's a higher pressure down here. It's because the weight of the gas is above it. This is very clear. And the other thing was about the mass and the weight. As someone stated before, mass is the amount of matter in an object. And that's not going to change no matter where you put this thing. It's never going to change its mass. Whereas its weight is very much dependent on that mass, which doesn't change, and the force acting on it, which does change and can be measured by weighing an object using a scale from different places. This is done. This is the reason why gold is bought and sold at certain places and not at others. And there's many other businesses that that have to abide by this. So that's all.
Thanks. Left lane.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. I think the points were covered pretty good there. The only thing is, everybody talking, asking question on top of question with no answers given. It's very difficult to come to any conclusion. But other than that, it's a good show. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Howard. Matrix. Paige.
I'm good. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Paige. Phil.
Brandon, you keep asking this question. Why is there gas pressure next to a container, next to a vacuum? Well, Brandon, why do you ask this question when nobody says that there is gas pressure next to a vacuum in space? That doesn't happen, Brandon, so stop asking the question.
Wow.
I can't remember ever asking that, to be honest with you. Rakia.
Nug life.
Real planets have curves. Naps. SE.
Yes, sir. Great show tonight, Brandon. As everybody clearly saw, delusion. They're delusional, especially Kosho. You saw I had to bring it out painstakingly, step by step. He believes that an object can be both traveling straight and curving at the same time. You heard him. You heard him say it. And, what else? What else do you have to say? Delusion. The ability to hold two thoughts simultaneously on the same thing opposing in your brain. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you. Stacy.
Oh, I just want to thank you as usual and everybody that's been part of it tonight. We appreciate all of you guys listening to us because sometimes it can be crazy. So thank you guys for coming, and especially everybody in here. You guys are like family. Some of you are not. I'm just going to save it. Let's say it like that and leave it with, Nug Life. What's up with you?
Thanks, Stacy. Bob. No? All right. My final thoughts. Thanks to the panel. Really appreciate it. Kosho, I was the one who said that about weight and mass. Sounds like we agree on those two things for the most part, except when you add all that extra bullshit about acceleration and outside forces and all this shit that is totally unnecessary. But we'll get to the bottom of it. One of us will be have egg on their face someday, maybe. All right. Anyway, thanks to the panel. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. And I'll be back. Hit the record button and maybe catch some craziness. All right. See ya. Okay. Woo. The fuck? I suddenly got really fucking tired during the middle of that. I was getting pretty irritable. I don't know what my deal is. I think I'm going to go drink a beer. Anyway, you guys have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow. I have no idea what we got planned. This Friday, George is supposed to come in. He's got a rebuttal to some of the stuff about radio waves and the ionosphere and some other things that Bob said last week, I think it was, maybe the week before. So we'll see what he's got. Could get interesting, and we'll go from there. So that's Friday. Friday night fights might be a before George comes and after George comes deal this Friday, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot and have a good night.